ABC News. I'm Dave Packer. Tornadoes tear through the South Friday, at least 23 dead in Mississippi. A deadly path stretching over 90 miles. Homes and businesses torn apart. Storm chaser Edgar O'Neill.
Complete and utter devastation.
To me, the Mets have one of the
walls
most
tucked down from houses. Trees up. Seen several areas where parts of the asphalt had been jacked up from the ground.
This one surviving the...
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
Get 11% off everything at Menards. Get the last roof you'll ever need. Steel Roofing offers the best wind resistance, superior hail resistance, and can be ordered cut to your length. It installs fast and is the choice of more and more homeowners in the Midwest. Choose from 25 beautiful colors in-store or online and get 11% off. Good through February 26th. Savings are mail and rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards. Millions plan for retirement online. Estimate your future benefits, apply for retirement, and manage your benefits all from the comfort of your home. And give yourself the freedom to do what you want offline. Social Security's online services help put you in control with secure access to your information anytime, anywhere, allowing you to spend more time with family, friends, or simply just enjoying the day. Social Security, securing today and tomorrow. See what you can do online at socialsecurity.gov.
Hello, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster with a look at your local weather forecast for your Friday. With scattered showers on and off through the day, a daytime high should reach near 48 degrees. The overnight low of 45 with showers continuing. We'll see showers likely on and off through your Saturday as well, with temperatures in the low 70s for daytime highs. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
Just $24.95 per month per user, plus tax.
Good afternoon, welcome to the Live from Evansville pregame show here at Pregame Podcast. John Beach on WKKX The Watchdog. Number one Nova Southeastern.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the Live from Evansville pregame show here. The Pioneering Podcast guys with you on WKKX The Watchdog as we take you right up to the tip-off between number one Nova Southeastern and number two West Liberty. It's going to be a great game as they decide the Division II National Championship. From Evansville, we'll have E.J. Shawdzinski on the ground out there. We got our own Brian Soup Campbell out there doing crazy stuff, interviewing people down courtside. Got Matt here along with Coach Jarrett and Jubb. Chris making a special appearance today on a Saturday. Welcome, guys. It's Championship Saturday. We got the Dubai World Cup going on. We got lots of excitement. March Madness is in the air. I woke up very excited this morning, Coach. What about you as we get ready for this amazing game here between the Toppers and the Sharks?
Yeah, I'm ready. I told EJ out there just a little bit ago I'm ready for the tip now. I'm ready to go. We've had all the pre-game that I think people have heard enough, and I think they're ready to tip.
Well, they got 3 more hours of hearing us.
Well, that's all right. I'm still excited to do this, but I'm ready to go.
Yes.
I'm ready.
We got lots of great guests coming up today.
We got a lot of cool
Dr. John McCullough's checking in. We got recorded interviews with Roy Pickerel, the media coordinator from the Division II Elite Eight. We got Devin Hearn, former West Liberty Hilltopper and Nova assistant coach, calling in later in the show. Going to check in with EJ as he interviewed Jordan Fee, the assistant coach for Nova Southeastern, also a former Hilltopper. We have interviews with Coach Huffman, Coach Howlett, Kathy Monterosa, Dr. Kathy Monterosa, the interim president of West Liberty. We got Zach Rasil, who we talked to yesterday. We got lots of cool stuff going on. We may even get some of the Hilltopper basketball alumni on if they could take a break out of their pregame tailgating. Chris, welcome aboard. You don't get to join us very often here on the Pioneering Podcast Watchdog operation as we come back in for our, I guess it's like our 10th hour of radio this week. We're close to it. As we're going to lead up to it. But we got lots of exciting things coming up. Jarrett, you ready to go today?
Yeah, ready to roll.
You're our most recent graduate of West Liberty, so you might be pretty excited.
Yeah. I'm hoping the Toppers can pull through today. I'd be really really cool. It's cool that they're in it, but now let's take care of business and let's win it. I'm really excited to see the game today.
The Toppers right now a 4-point underdog. Is Nova Southeastern -4. The total 182.5 right now. Coach, you were over at the casino this morning. There was a buzz in the air. People getting to the window, get some money down on West Liberty.
Yes, and I went over and put my couple dollars down on the Hilltoppers. I like the Hilltoppers. The dogs have been good so far, and I like them to continue today. And I'll tell you the other, probably the happiest people in town, around the valley, in the city, are the bar owners around. I would imagine that Mike DePlog out of Generations and Herky Sparshane at Alpha and the rest of the bars at West Bar and wherever else, the Warwood Vets, all those bars are going to see some traffic today, and they're going to have a lot of fun and be crowded. So get out to if you're not listening to us, go support one of those establishments, but hopefully you tune in to EJ at 3 o'clock and hear his great call of the game. But the bar owners are very excited today. Wouldn't you say, Chris?
Yes. Yeah, it's going to be crazy. And, we talked about maybe going out there, but by the time we get off the air, these bars are going to be packed. We won't have anywhere to park. So it's just a great day. And it's hard to believe that, we've talked before about, well, maybe Westwood will get there and win it all. But just the storylines you guys have already probably talked about, Crutchfield, who left, obviously, and playing against Westlake in the finals, to me, you couldn't draw it up like that. It's just almost like a fairy tale. So it's going to be awesome.
Hey, real quick, I want to send this down to Soup. He's down giving us a report real quick down what's going on in Evansville. Soup.
Hello, Brian. Welcome to the show.
What's up, fellas? Evansville's rocking. Let's go Toppers.
You have your Topper suit?
No, I thought about bringing it and wearing it, but I've got a little surprise to rock out, so I'm ready to roll.
All right, what's going on? Are you in the arena right now, or where are you?
We're walking in at noon. We're grabbing our media passes, and we're going to get rolling.
What's Sammy wearing today? That's the big question.
He's ready to rock. He's going to be the best dressed in there.
All right, good.
Here's what I have to say, though. We're in Indiana. There's no water anywhere close. It's a Topper Bear versus a Shark. Come on, who's going to win the matchup, baby?
All right, give us that predicted score like you did the last time.
Toppers 92, Nova Sharks not enough.
All right, Sue. Well, have a good day. Bring us back some good action and behave yourself. Don't get ejected or anything. We'll be looking for you on TV.
I think he already took off.
Yeah,
that's how he rolls. That's how he rolls.
Yeah, he's like a cloud of smoke. Tasmanian devil. He rolls in quick and he's gone.
That's why I love talking to him on the phone. It's in and out quick. Jared, you know that.
Right to the point. All right, so Soup will be. You'll probably be able to see him on TV. So don't forget CBS, the big CBS, Channel 7, WTRF in this area. So be sure and check it out 3 o'clock as they get ready to lead you into the big games of the night in Division I basketball. Guys, quick thoughts before we get joined by our first guest about the basketball games last night.
Well, you got
Miami Hurricanes.
You got your weekend off to a great start, as you mentioned. Not only did the men win, pulling that huge upset, but your Lady Canes, and they play when? They play tomorrow. Lady Canes play tomorrow. Your men Canes play tomorrow. My goodness, you're not going to sleep tonight.
I got to survive today.
You got so much going on. It's unbelievable. So I'm
just glad not to be at work right now. I got out early. It was
Me
weird.
too.
Got to come and get ready for this. I'm excited to be here. This is like a weird feeling day for me. West Liberty makes it back to the national championship for the first time since 14, and I was there that day. Chris was there that day. It's hard to believe that was that long ago.
9 years.
It seems like yesterday. And the same stuff. I woke up this morning. Dubai World Cup horse racing is on. It just kind of takes me back to that. Obviously, I'm not as busy today as I was that day. So just exciting. Jared, do you remember when West Liberty was in the championship game the first time?
I do a little bit. Who did they play?
They played Southeast Missouri or Central Missouri.
I vaguely remember watching it on TV. Who played on that team? Who would have been on that team?
Like Cedric Harris, Seeger.
Was there who shot three? Who was the short
little
Tim Hosfeld?
Tim Hosfeld. That's exactly. Yep, I remember that vividly. I remember he hit a big three. I think down the stretch, and then unfortunately they got beat. But yeah, I do actually remember that. And you say that,
and it was a lower scoring game. It was 84-77. I think I have it. Yeah, I got it.
They were the Mules, weren't they?
Yes, they were the Mules, and their cheerleaders were called the Mule Kickers. I remember that.
Oh, yeah. Maybe that'd be the Mulettes.
Yeah, Matt, you talk about a weird feeling. I'm nervous, and I don't know if it's for this game or it's because I'm on live radio.
The radio we do every week, but I will say I had anxiety that I don't usually have this morning. It was weird. It was like
and all of us so close to the program for so many years, we got mixed emotions.
Oh, and then you got and then you got the Pounds things, and you got the Sharks things all over Nova. You got the close friends staff down there, close friends who played down there. It's a very eerie and odd thing. It's like the world's going to end today or something.
Yeah,
which would be just my luck. Two teams I like in the finals in Miami.
259. Something nuclear.
Nostradamus said
nuclear attack.
If Miami teams ever make the Elite Eight, men and women.
Well, you know one thing, we're gonna have a new national champion in Division I and a new national champion in Division II. So that's going to happen here in the next couple of weeks with Division I. How about that? And all number 1 seeds gone in Division I. I mean, the brackets, people have to be like scrambling to find out who they might be able to win now without even picking the tournament champion, because brackets are just a mess, especially if like San Diego State wins again and gets into the Final Four, and
Yeah, if you get San Diego State and Miami in there, and Florida Atlantic.
I mean,
that would be great.
I mean, your brackets have to be tallying up pretty soon, because a lot of these big teams are gone. I mean, I don't know what that's attributed to, the portal, the NIL, what it is.
Well, I mean, we said at the beginning of March Madness, this probably was the most open, even field that we've ever seen. So, I mean, I guess it's no surprise I had Bama and Houston in my national championship. So
where's your bracket, in the garbage can?
Oh yeah, it's shredded.
That's been gone a long time.
Mine's heading downward too. I did have Florida Atlantic in a couple, and Miami just because I like them. But that doesn't usually work.
I think my Final Four actually is completely gone. I had UCLA, Tennessee, and then Bama and Houston.
Chubb, how's yours bracket going?
I didn't even know March Madness was still going on.
Horned Frogs have been golfing for a week. So
didn't he have Oral Roberts going for?
Yeah, he had them a long way.
They were in the game for about 5 minutes against Duke. That was about it. So.
Yeah,
well, Matt, last night too, you sent out that text message. You didn't like your chances because Jim Nance was announcing the game. You're not a big fan. But Miami rose above.
Puts people to sleep. I was worried about our energy level with him in the building, but no, we played good. It was a good performance.
Hey, before we take Dr. McCullough, we got a caller.
Oh, okay, caller, welcome to the Pine Room Podcast pregame show. How you doing today?
I'm good, fellas. How are you?
Wonderful. Who are you picking in West Lib Nova today?
I like my Hilltoppers.
All right.
Are you going to? Are you heading over to the casino?
I am. I'm actually I might, because I just left the old fish market.
Ooh, yum.
Black sandwich, large tartar.
What was the?
I do have a question for you guys.
Yes,
though,
please.
On today's game, and I know that everybody on the show is pretty has deep roots back to West Liberty, and I think the way the public is kind of seeing this game, and you guys might have even talked about this when I wasn't listening, but I think the public's looking at this game as this is a cool story, blah, 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 but as someone who was at West Liberty kind of in the transition of Crutchfield to Hallett and in high school during that time, I feel like there could possibly be some tears and some strains in their relationship based off players who left West Liberty to go to Nova. And I don't necessarily think this game is a happy Cinderella story. They're friends meeting up. I think there's actually some really maybe bad blood possibly today at 3 o'clock in Evansville.
I don't disagree with that.
Yes. I think you're on to something there, caller. You got a lot of things, even as most recent as Will Yoakum transferring from West Liberty down to Nova. Kind of all started when Coach Crutchfield left. David Dennis was the first player that went down there. It's been interesting. I don't want to go as far as saying bad blood, but you could see some tempers flaring during the game today. I think everybody's going to be a little bit tight about this game, a little bit extra. On top of it being the national championship, you also have it's like you're looking at yourself in the mirror and having an internal fight with yourself. So it's going to be
for sure
quite interesting.
I was looking at Coach Crutchfield's comments yesterday, and he basically said, well, there's going to be a lot of pressing. There's going to be a lot of turnovers. We call our plays the same thing. So it's going to be an interesting game. I think, personally, the winner will be the guy who's willing to change just enough to shake things up.
It's a great point.
In the big moments.
I agree with that.
In the predictable moments, who's willing to have the audacity to make a call that they're maybe not comfortable running, just because it's not something that is expected to go down in that crucial moment.
I think you're on to something there, caller. I think you're exactly right. I think the guy that actually makes the adjustment quickest in the game may have the upper hand, obviously, if it works in his favor. So, hey, thanks for checking in. Enjoy the game, and good luck with your bets today.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, caller.
All right, take care. All right, Job, we got anybody else lined up, ready to go? We got Dr. McCullough on the line. All right, awesome. Dr. McCullough, welcome to the Pine Rim Podcast here on the Watchdog as we do live from Evansville, the pregame show for the Division II National Championship between Nova Southeastern and West Liberty. Dr. McCullough, welcome to the show. This is Dr. John McCullough, President Emeritus of West Liberty University, longtime administrator, kind of involved in how this program got off the ground and turned into what it is right now. Dr. McCullough, welcome to the show.
Well, nice to be here. Thanks a lot, man, for having me. Appreciate it.
So tell us a little bit about your memories of how this basketball program got going in the right direction. First with Coach Crutchfield, and then following right behind with as Coach Hallett transitioned to the head coach a few years later.
Oh, absolutely. And I've been watching West Liberty basketball for over half a century, and this is exciting time. And I'll tell you the story, Matt, is obviously with your dad, Coach Jim Watson, our outstanding athletic director for many, many years at West Liberty. And Jim Watson is a gentleman who rolled the dice on this, and it was very controversial at the time. Back in 2004, a lot of concerns, even a little bit of hate mail, and that type of thing that came in. He was replacing Coach Dan Petrie, a veteran, experienced coach at West Liberty for many years, and it was a lot of stuff regarding, hey, how's this women's tennis coach going to do handling men's basketball in the rough and tumble WBIAC back then. Of course, Coach Crutchfield was an outstanding championship winning tennis coach, and he'd been on the sidelines as an assistant coach to Coach Petrie for several years, but his lone experience, I think, was high school coaching at Cameron High School. And your dad, Jim Watson, rolled the dice on this amidst a lot of controversy in naming Jim Crutchfield head coach, and just start writing the story, because the rest of it is unbelievable. You have Jim as the all-time highest winning percentage at all levels of NCAA for 10 years or more of coaching, and then today you've got his former player, protege Ben Hallett, who I understand for 5 years, that range, 5 years or more of coaching. He is the leader in terms of winning percentage at all NCAA division levels. So it is really, as some of your investments say, it's a made-for-TV, Matt, it's a made-for-TV movie. It is unreal. But as Coach Hallett said, this is not about coach versus coach. It's team versus team and school versus school. But you cannot separate Crutch and Ben in this type of thing. And obviously, they're friends and former colleagues and all, but it is really an exciting time for West Liberty University and all the fans and alums and certainly all the players and parents and all. It's exciting.
It certainly is, and we were just talking, Chris Pavlik's here in the studio with me, Dr. McCullough. We were talking about
how
how fast it's gone since West Liberty was in that game back in 2014. It seems like just yesterday to me, and now it's already been almost 10 years. So it's crazy.
Absolutely, it does. And we had a chance. We were just as good as Central Missouri. They were bigger than we were, but we didn't shoot well. We didn't shoot real well, especially near the end of the game. And I know we lost by 7, but we could have. We had just as good, if not better, team than they did. But
Are you out in Evansville right now?
They won the thing. Okay. It was exciting. Yeah, and look at that. As you say, almost a decade. It does seem like that was yesterday morning.
It certainly does. Are you out in Evansville right now?
Sure. Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I've been out here from the get-go. I've seen all three games and had a really good time. Nice fan base out here. That means more today. We're sure going to have a lot more fans than Nova Southeastern does. And I heard you guys talking about being at the casino. We were at the casino the other day. My wife Rhonda lost my retirement. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, I'm going to have to start panhandling or do something here. But Evansville is a neat setting. The Ford Center, you've been here, Matt, is a real nice setting, nice arena. It's great for this tournament. And Evansville's a nice-sized city. You don't get lost in. A lot of things to do, a lot of great restaurants and bars. Yes. It's a nice city.
Hey, Dr. McCullough, Mark Delbrug here. Great to have you on.
Mark, how you doing?
I'm terrific, buddy. Now,
Mark's one of the Hall of Fame baseball players, folks. If you don't know that, outstanding baseball player.
Well, we still have deep ties to West Liberty, and we'll be you've been gone a week, and you wouldn't believe the excitement here in the Valley. I think every bar from north to south, east and west is having a watch party today, and I don't think there's going to be much else on anybody's TV but the West Liberty game. So, no, everybody back here sure is wound up for this game. But I was going to ask you, I remember Coach Crutchfield used to lean on you a little bit for some coaching tips. I remember in like big games and tight situations, he would go to you for certain. You always used to talk about certain plays you'd give him. Have you been as instrumental with Coach Hallett, in helping him develop and making sure that he was doing things the right way?
I think maybe more so, Mark.
Oh, okay.
He's being a bit younger, and my years, of course, I don't know if the listeners know, the years I spent coaching NBA. I don't like to talk about it. I was, and I tell you, I go. A lot of them lean on me for defensive. I was kind of a defensive specialist, and I told both Jim and certainly Coach Hallett what I always thought was a special defense seemed to work for me when I was on the sidelines. There it was either a person-to-person or a 3-2-1 zone. The 3-2-1 zone was really effective.
The 3-2-1 zone.
And so stuff like that. I think they still look to me for that kind of advice.
Well, and I know you tried forever to get Jim Crutchfield to run the picket fence, and he just wouldn't adapt to it. I don't know why he wouldn't do it. I mean, it seemed like that would have worked much better than what he was doing.
Well, he would have had a lot better success. But let's be honest, he struggled.
And you don't get any credit. That's bothersome. That's why I wanted to bring that up.
No credit, no respect at all. Isn't that amazing, though, what he did at West Liberty with a radical turnaround in one season, and Nova Southeastern, who maybe even had less success than West Liberty did, and in 1 year he turns it around, and he's a miracle worker. Jim Crutchfield is a coaching miracle worker. Something else. I don't know how he does it, but he does it.
You just scratch your head, and you just don't. You don't
get
it. So.
Right. It's amazing. It's amazing. And we haven't skipped a beat with Ben. Have not skipped a beat with Ben Allen. Yeah.
Hey, Dr. McCall, this is Chris. Hey, I just want to know how are you feeling today emotionally with this game? I mean, just being friends with Crutch and being such a long time president and whatnot at West Lib. I mean, did you have mixed emotions? How you feeling?
I do. I really do. Both are great guys. Jim Crutchfield is as solid as you can get. Ben Howlett is as solid as you can get. They are quality, down to earth, right on the street guys, and it's that old adage: you don't want to see anyone lose this thing for them personally, and because they're such quality individuals and outstanding coaches and their teams. Obviously, I want West Liberty to win, and that's where the heart is. But it's going to be tough because you have to kind of naturally root for both of the. Not that I'm going to be rooting for Noah Southeastern, but got to kind of root for Crutch as well as for Ben. But I certainly hope the Toppers can bring this thing home. I would see, as everybody else does, I would see a close game. I bet you certainly don't see this being any type of blowout at all. Nova Southeastern is so good, so big. They are much bigger than we are, and awfully good team. They have quality stuff. Of course, that's exactly what we are, but we don't have the size they do, but we've got just as much quickness and just as much ability, so it should be interesting. But it's really a mixed emotion with Crutch and Ben out there. Of course, Crutch did so much for West Liberty, and Ben was followed right in, so that's kind of an emotional tear. Mm-hmm.
Hey, Doctor, also, we were talking before we came on air about our fan base and, over the years that some of the great fans that we've lost, and we were just coming to mind, like guys like Larry Lowe, Nelson Kane, and we were talking about one of our biggest supporters, Larry Williams, and we were kind of laughing that he would probably be pacing back and forth, and we were just wondering, you were obviously a very close friend with Larry, but do you think he's hosting a watch party somewhere today for this game?
I think he is. I have no doubt Larry's up above us, not down below us. He's a, God bless him. He's up above us, and I think he is. Now, if he were here, of course, near the end of the game, he would be out. Or he wouldn't. He might be out in the concourse. He might be outside the center. He might be out on the street, walking around. Very, very. Very emotional, but Larry was such a great fan. And right, when you mentioned Larry Lowe, Nelson Kane, Reed Burke, I look at all the super West Liberty fans who have missed this type of thing, who would love to be here. We know they're here. We know they're here in spirit, but Larry will be walking outside the arena on the street the last 5 minutes. You can bet he's hosting a watch party. Great guy.
That's the best bet of the weekend, Dr. McCullough. Yeah, Larry hosting a watch party. Lots of cold beer at it too, for sure. Yes, exactly. Well, Dr. McCullough, thank you so much for taking the time out to spend with us here and reminisce a little bit, talk about today's game. We really appreciate it, and enjoy the game today, and hopefully you guys are bringing back some hardware to the Wheeling area.
That'd be fun. Thanks for hosting.
All right. Okay, Doctor.
Good luck, everybody. Go Toppers.
Thank you, Doctor.
All right. That was Dr. John McCullough, President Emeritus of West Liberty University, and just one of the truly great guys ever pretty much in college athletics, college administration, everything. Just anything that you can say nice about Dr. McCullough, he totally deserves. No, there isn't, and the world misses guys in key roles like him for so long. So he and my dad actually started on the same day at West Liberty, which is really weird. Wow. Yep, lots of good stories there that he was talking about. The game against Central Missouri. That game was almost like a blur to me, Chris. Like I remember bits and pieces of it. I was going back through and looking at the play-by-play, and we were up by as many as 9 in the first half, and then kind of just I don't know if it was the emotion that kind of takes its toll on you. Like early on, you're kind of tight, and then you kind of settle in, play all right for a little bit, and then that exhaustion, just that mental energy that you had to put out to try to kind of put up barriers against the crowd and the environment and things like that. I think it does wear on you eventually, and I think that's what happened to us in that game. I know our guys kind of looked like they were just exhausted about the under 12 timeout of the second half, and that's when the Mules kicked it in gear.
That was probably had something to do with the poor shooting because we had open looks in that game. And just couldn't knock them down, and that was highly unusual for them.
I definitely feel like, and Dr. McCullough alluded to it, that we were a lot better than them. I think if we play them 10 times, we probably would have won 8 of them. But that's the way it goes, and that's what's really cool about this Elite 8 is you can play this game, or you can play this over and over with the same teams, and you're going to get different winners. Coach Crutchfield talks about it all the time. You got 8 teams there, probably 6 of them can win it each year, and just how the cards fall each year is how it goes.
And you listen to basketball guys, basketball coaches, and they talk strategy and what they got to do to win. But honestly, and at the end of the day, and the bottom line is you have to put the ball in the basket. You can play good defense. Obviously, you have to play good defense, make them take bad shots. But when you get good looks and you get a chance to score, you got to put the ball in the bucket. You're watching these teams that are winning now.
That's what Joe always says.
Well, I think you could put that on the list of one of the cliche things we say.
Well, yeah, but
got to make shots.
It's simple fact though. You watch these Division I games. The teams that are shooting, Miami yesterday, teams that are shooting well are winning the games.
No question.
And when you don't shoot well,
it seems simple, but it's true, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, we're going to take a break here on the PRP Watchdog live from Evansville pregame show. We will be right back. We're going to play an interview with one of my good buddies, Roy Pickerel, and talk more about the game. We'll be right back on the Pioneer Pocket.
He would tell those stories like
he would always say, "I'll have to straighten Crutch out." Go in and give him a couple of delays.
And the 3-2-1. He's my all-time favorite human.
He really is. He couldn't find a person to say anything bad about him.
He doesn't ever say anything bad about anybody. Did you ever have an easier interview? That guy.
I knew that's what I wanted the game, because I knew it would be a great way to start it out, just kind of set the foundation of what we got going today. He put stuff in just.
But he caught right on. That's funny with Mark.
Yeah.
And he played right into.
All right, welcome back into the Pine Room Podcast, Watchdog, live from Evansville pregame show as we take you up to tip-off between the Sharks and the Hilltoppers, 3 o'clock Eastern time on CBS. Our next guest, he joined us yesterday. Coach and I sat down in our studio and talked to Mr. Roy Pickerel. Roy's been a friend of mine for a long time. He's kind of a mentor. He's a longtime SID in Division II level. He worked at Kentucky Wesleyan for almost 50 years as a student, and he's worked his way up. He's been around. He's done a little bit of everything. He's actually the key contact person for all D2 media when it comes to the Elite Eight. Actually, the media coordinator is his official title. He's been in that role for almost 20 years now. Just a genuinely great guy. Hails from Kentucky, just down the road from Evansville here, actually up the road, about 45 minutes from his house. So we sat down with Roy yesterday just to talk about some of the things going on there with him and how much work it is for SIDs actually at the Elite Eight. It's I was talking to Rex Lancaster, the West Liberty SID, former protege of mine when I was at West Liberty, just about how busy he was today. And when you're the SID, I can say this from experience, you wake up in the morning of the game, and your job is harder than the team, at least leading up to the tip-off. You have so many things to coordinate, get in line, interviews, people need to be here, there, wherever. X time, it's a lot. It's a lot to do, and those people don't get talked about or recognized a lot, and that's why I wanted to sit down with Roy. He's been doing this for a long time, as you'll hear, and just loves it, has a true passion for it, and it's not an easy job, and Roy's there to kind of guide, shepherd the SIDs from the schools along, especially the ones that haven't been here before, and he did that with me, and I'll never forget it, going to Springfield my very first time. I had known Roy, but he really, kind of took me under his wing and showed me the ropes, and I couldn't have been happier to have learned from him. So, Coach, what did you think yesterday we sat down?
Well, that's what I was going to say. You just hit on a lot of the points I was going to say. People don't realize how hard you guys, back when you were doing it, how hard you guys work, how many moving parts there are, how many things you got to have go right. Like there's so many little glitches that fall back on you guys that people on the outside don't understand. And watching from the sidelines, which I do the shot clock, been doing that for a long time, I watch how hard the SIDs work. And even during the game, your job never stops. It's still carrying on during the game, getting statistics, making sure the benches can have their stats at all the media timeouts, at halftime, making sure that everybody at the scores table is getting their job done. And then even after the game, people are celebrating, and your guys, those guys are still getting ready for the media room and getting ready for interviews, getting the statistics to everybody, making sure all the media outlets, the papers, the radios have everything they need. It never ends for you guys. There's really not a whole lot of enjoyment and relaxation in trying to watch the game.
It is, Chris. You've been on some of these trips with me, the Elite Eights. We've been lucky enough to go to 5 of them. You were at all 5, weren't you?
Yes, I didn't miss any of them. And we spoke before we came on about people don't realize that what goes into it with your job. And when we be there, I think. I went with your dad, maybe your mom and sister. We get to go sightsee. We got to go to that Louisville Slugger bat factory, which was really the coolest thing. And and you have to make all those sacrifices. You can't do all that. I mean, obviously you're doing your job, but it's you guys have to be committed to do that. But yeah, we had a great time doing all that, so we had to do without you.
Yeah, no, I get it.
But it is cool to see that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot, but it's worthwhile and it's beneficial and it's really good for the student athletes. You try to get them as much exposure as you can and meet as many people as you can to get them on TV, interviews from newspapers, all kinds of things. Jarrett?
Yeah, I just remember I actually interned under Rex when I was back at West Lib. I was one of his operations guys, and it truly is amazing how many different things go on. And I remember sometimes I'd try to track him down. I could never find him. If I needed something, he would be one place and then he would be other, and I'd be like, I don't know where he's at, but it's impressive.
Yeah, and like 8 different people pulling on you at once. This guy needs this. This guy at the head table needs this. You need a key to get in the visitors' locker room. They need ice. They need cups for the cups for this. Then they need stats. It's
literally endless.
It's endless.
It really is. And you try to get organized, but you can only do so much, and then you have things popping up.
Oh,
here and there.
know.
And then when you're out at the Elite Eight right now, your job doesn't stop. You still got 20 other sports you got to deal with.
Oh,
so
yeah.
you're out there and you're doing that, and then you're having like, oh, you know what? I got to take care of baseball, softball stats, and tennis is here, and I got to do this and this and this.
I was just gonna say, Matt, what's it like when the playoff basketball is coming? Then you got softball and baseball on the weekend, and then you got a midweek baseball, and then you got tennis, and then is it
There's
insane?
no stopping. Sometimes it actually is really, this time of year especially, is you're starting to drag anyway, and events like this really keep you going, get the blood flowing, and you're pretty excited about it. But once you're done with this, you're almost hoping for a couple of days or weeks of rain. You're
the only guy, right?
And like you're just like, oh man, I tell you, it would be really, really nice to not have to worry about anything today, work-wise. Try to get your own life in order. Job, what do we got?
No, I just want to give a shout out to our good buddy Dan from the nation of Slobovia. He's up in his bunker in Willow Springs right now.
Oh, Dan, we love you. We send our love. Thank you for your loyal friendship, and we'll hear from you hopefully next week because I'm sure you got a lot to talk about.
Matt, and that makes me think of talking about dealing with multiple sports. I think we did that Florida trip, and it was just a regular season trip, so it was right in the middle of football season. So,
right. Oh yeah.
We I think Crutchfield was the coach. We went down there and played back-to-back games.
Right.
And then I think a Friday, and then that was the second game, and we went out and we had kind of a late night. Then we went back to the room, watched movies, and stayed up. And you never went to bed.
Right.
And so you had to fly back and then drive from Pittsburgh straight to a West Lib football game.
Yeah, I remember that. Played Notre Dame as the last football game of the year, and we weren't really in contention or anything, so it was a drag. I was literally almost asleep in the press box when I got there. So my dad was living the good life down in Florida for another day. So I guess that's what happens when you're the lower guy on the totem pole. So anyway, we're going to hear this really cool interview with Roy Pickerel now, and then we're going to join back with us guys here in the studio coming up after the break. So enjoy Roy Pickerel, the media coordinator for the Division II Elite Eight. You're listening to the Pine Room Podcast on the Watchdog. We are pleased to be joined by Mr. Roy Pickerel. He is the Elite Eight media coordinator. He's been in that role for several years. I got the pleasure to know Roy back when I was the SID at West Liberty. He's been a great mentor and friend to me, taught me a lot about the industry, just an endless source of knowledge. Roy, thank you for joining us here on the pregame show. I know you're a really busy guy. How's everything been going in Evansville so far, and are you excited about the game for tomorrow?
Oh, the game, I mean, things are going great, but I tell you what, we couldn't have a greater matchup between West Liberty and Nova. And we got a lot of storylines, of course, with, Coach Crutchfield, being at both schools, so a lot of people are taking advantage of all the storylines.
Yes, absolutely. Tons of stuff to talk about there with Coach Crutch now making the move down. You probably thought you maybe never see Coach Crutchfield again when he left West Liberty, and then here he is showing up at your doorstep again a couple of more times in recent years.
No, that didn't surprise me that he would pop up. He's too good of a coach.
Exactly. Well, the Elite Eight's been in Evansville now for a few years. I was lucky enough to be at one out there. Great venue, the Ford Center. That's close to your home there in Owensboro, so that's probably really nice for you. It's only, about 45 minutes from home?
40 minutes, and I've been here all week, and this is my 28th Elite Eight.
Wow.
But my first taste of the Elite Eight was in March of 1972. So I've been around that long. I've been at Kentucky Wesleyan 51 years, and Division II basketball has been my passion all these years. A lot of people have hobbies about playing golf and everything, but being a historian for Division II basketball is what I love.
You are definitely the man when it comes to D2 hoops. If there's ever a question to be asked, you usually have the answer. As you mentioned, you're almost 30 years involved in this D2 Elite Eight. Do you still get really excited when it comes? I know you're not an everyday SID anymore over at Kentucky Wesleyan, but do you still get really excited about the Elite Eight each year?
Yeah, because it's Christmas.
Exactly.
Every Elite Eight is Christmas week because it's the greatest week of the year.
Certainly is.
Hey, Roy, Mark Delbrug here. I'm a West Liberty graduate, affiliate, played baseball at West Liberty. I'm actually Matt's uncle and part of this Pine Room podcast.
Oh, Lord.
It's a pleasure to meet you. Matt's talked very highly of you and said he learned a lot from you, and it's we're very happy to have you on on board here. Thank you for taking the time. Anyway, I got a quick question for you, Roy. I know you've been watching these title games a long time, and as you mentioned earlier, there's a lot of storylines with this particular game. Do you see this game as having the most storylines, as so to speak, with it, with being Coach Crutchfield? Then you've got Will Yoakum, Jordan Fee with Coach Crutch. There's so many intertwining intricacies in this game. Do you see this as one of the most unique finals of all time since you've been there?
Yeah, because in my time with the Elite Eight, I've never seen where a coach was at one school and then he has to face another school in the national championship. So the storylines are going all over in CBS, which the Hilltoppers will be on national TV at 3 o'clock Eastern time on Saturday. It's going to be great exposure for the university. It's going to be great for recruiting for students and for student athletes.
Now, Roy, obviously you
and I want to bring up one other thing too. Is that Evansville is the birthplace of Division II basketball.
Oh man, Division II basketball.
It got started here in 1975. 57.
1957.
Started here in 1957.
Wow, it's great to have mentors like you for the Division II level, because we're not that far off of Division I, that's for sure. Now, Roy, you've been there all week. Obviously, you've seen every game. Do you, obviously, this is probably going to be an easy question to answer. Do you feel like the two best teams are in the finals?
Oh, yes, very definitely. Very definitely. I mean, man, it's going to be a fantastic game, and I hope the Hilltoppers who can't make it to here to Evansville can watch it on TV.
Yeah, and Roy, do you remember a finals that match two teams with such similar styles? You know, there's sometimes when two teams are slow down, play in the 50s, but have you ever seen, the two top scoring teams in the country press 94 feet all game, they mirror each other? Is this probably a unique game in that respect?
Yes, it is, because, having two top teams, both of them press, I haven't seen this done in Division II.
We're with Roy Pickerel, the media coordinator for the Elite Eight in Evansville. He's been doing it for a long time as he joins us here on the Pine Room Podcast on the Watchdog as we take you right up to the tip-off of West Liberty and Nova Southeastern from the Ford Center in Evansville. Roy, I want to ask you a little bit, how much has the SID's role changed over the recent years with so much technology being involved? I'm sure it's a lot different from when you broke into the industry all those years ago at Kentucky Wesleyan.
Yeah, I know we used to do press releases and stats. We kept on stone tablets with chisels. It's changed a lot with social media and graphics. It's a whole lot different from all the years when I started 40 years ago or over 40 years ago. It's changed a lot.
Yeah,
but I remember mimeograph machines and stuff like that.
Copying machines.
Yeah. I can remember 7 faxes after the game.
Have you been able to keep up with it, Roy?
Yes, I have been, and I'm SID emeritus at Kentucky Wesleyan, but I retired from my SID's job and then moved up to the president's office as special assistant for college relations. But I'm still involved in our sports information office in one way or the other.
Yeah, Roy, speaking of Kentucky Wesleyan, I want to ask you, obviously this game tomorrow or today, as we're interviewing you a day ahead of time, but the game today is going to be an incredible matchup, West Liberty and Nova. What were some, if there's any games that stick out from the past, I wanted to ask you about. I know the Kentucky Wesleyan Panthers have been in the finals several times. I believe you had, 8 titles maybe? If I may be wrong about that.
Yes, we've played in 12 NCAA championships. We've won 8, and I've been part of 5 national championships. I've been very lucky there. But the one game that stands out in my mind, because Barton scored, they were behind big, and they scored 7 points in a matter of a minute to win the game on the very last half second of their game. And I'll be honest with you, I can't remember the date, but that was the greatest finish I've ever seen.
Roy, do you remember who they played in that game? Because I remember watching the game, and Atkinson was the guy that laid it in at the buzzer.
Oh, I know. It was Winona State.
There you go. Exactly. Yeah, that's what I couldn't remember.
They had the game, and they started cruising kind of, and they didn't take care of the ball towards the end, and then Atkinson, I mean, he's the one that got all those 7 points.
Yes.
I mean, it was unbelievable, and you can see that finish
Right.
on YouTube today.
Right. I know the NCAA had that in one of their highlight packages of like for the entire tournament, for the big tournament. That clip was on there. I remember that well because West Liberty actually played in that regional at Barton that year. Obviously didn't advance out of there, but West Virginia State from the Mountain East was also in there. All right, well, we're about done with you here, but I just wanted to ask you, since I haven't been in attendance for the Elite Eights the last few years, how's the bar tab been for the SID's dinner when you guys kick off the week?
Not as expensive as some kid by the name of Watson.
I know. Well, I hope Rex is at least pulling his weight a little bit.
Yeah.
Hey.
But no, I want to take care of the SIDs,
Well, you do a great job.
whether it be food or a beverage or two.
Always enjoyed that.
What's hey Roy, real quick, and now I'll turn it back over to Matt. What does the arena seat there at the arena you're in right now? What's the seating capacity?
It's a little over 9,000.
Okay, little.
It's also a hockey arena too, but more basketball than anything.
What's the hockey team that plays there?
Evansville. I can't even think of
Is that the ECHL?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, okay. So it's a rather large arena.
I'm a basketball man, not a hockey man.
Yeah,
Right.
well, you got ice under your feet right now, though. That's what they said. There's still ice under there. So, anyway, I was just wondering. It looks like a beautiful arena.
It is. It's perfect for an NCAA championship. So.
How many more years?
Hosted several.
Yeah, how many more years are we in Evansville, Roy? Or for now, at least?
2 more after this one, and then it goes to Pittsburgh for 1 year.
Oh.
Where both men and women are going to have their championships.
Okay, that's good. So I guess how many more years you got left of this? Are you going to just hang on for as long as you can?
I'll hang on until I'm 6 feet under.
Attaboy. That's why I love you, Roy. Hey, all right, so before we let you run, so people are going to be out at the bars today around Wheeling and down in the Nova area and Davie watching this game, having some cocktails, cheering on their teams. Tell the local bar goers your choice of between Tennessee whiskey and Kentucky bourbon.
Oh, hey, Tennessee whiskey's watered down Coke.
Spoken like a true Kentuckian. That is great. So, all right, well, Roy, hey, thank you so much for taking the time. It was great catching up with you. Good luck with everything in the game, West Liberty and Nova, and we appreciate you joining us here on the pregame show on the Pine Room Podcast and the Watchdog. And Mark's got one final thing for you.
Hey, Roy, I know you're impartial. Would you be willing to make a prediction on the game tomorrow or today?
Well, I tell you what, either the home or visitor's going to win tomorrow.
and one of them's going to win one of them's going to win their first national title, right?
Yeah, I tell you what, it's impossible to pick. It really is, because those teams are so even in every way possible. Offense, defense. This is one of the few that I cannot pick.
Oh, okay.
Understandable.
And that's a tribute to both teams.
Okay.
Exactly. All right, Roy, hey, thanks again for joining us here on the pregame show. Best of luck with everything. Hope everything goes well, and we'll be in touch. Thank you again.
Thank you, Roy. Good to meet you.
Thanks. Thank you, guys.
All right, that was Roy Pickerel, media coordinator for the Division II Elite Eight. Just a pleasure to talk to always. He always makes things fun. Just a true professional, very easy to deal with, and he's a kind of a warming figure for teams, especially the teams that lose the games. One of the worst things about being an SID is when you have to walk your guys to the losing post-game press conference. It's probably the worst thing that I've ever experienced as far as work goes. It is tough. It is, you see these guys playing their last games. Chris, you probably remember how demoralizing it is when all these guys you watched play for 4 years and their careers are over. And it's like, man, you accomplished so much, and we had so many amazing memories, and especially with our program just getting built up then. It wasn't like we'd been good forever. It made it really special, and those were tough, like having to walk Corey Pelly down there and Cedric Harris and Seeger Bonifant. I mean, those are days I won't ever forget for the good and the bad. Obviously, we never were able to finish it off and end with a win, which maybe they'll do today. But yeah, it was always very tough for me after those games. But great interview with Roy, Coach. Thanks for
it was great.
Sitting in and talking
Enjoyed
about
talking
that.
to him.
We got Devin Hearn coming up after the next break. I want to mention some of our sponsors here for this incredible thing we got going here live from Evansville. We're going to, of course, check in with E.J. Shadzinski, who's on site down at Evansville right now. He's been there all week, so he's been checking in with the guys, doing interviews. Want to thank Belmont Savings Bank, Frohnapple and Burkett Insurance, River City, the Highlands, Barry Kressler, Crutchfield, Taylor, and Gordon. I'm sure Mrs. Crutchfield's very tight today. She's probably a very nervous wreck out there in Evansville. The Dirty Dog, Robinson Auto Group, the Preferred Legacy Trust Company, Main Street Bank, Pari Insurance, Wheeling Greyhound Kennel Association, the YWCA, a Special Wish Foundation, and the WLU Foundation. So those are great sponsors. Thanks to everybody who got on board to make this event possible as we lead you up to tip-off between Nova and West Liberty, the unbeaten Sharks versus the Hilltoppers. Right now, Nova's still -4, 182.5. Any thoughts, guys, before we take a break? Do you think this is going to be as high-scoring a game as advertised?
I don't. Actually, I was talking to a guy over there yesterday, and he pointed it, or this morning, and he pointed it out that total is very high. I'm predicting this is in the 170s. I'm saying it end in the 170s. I don't think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a track meet, obviously, but I don't think it's going to be as up tempo as everybody says.
I can see the beginning of the game and the end of the game being a little. I think maybe a track meet at the beginning, and then at the end. I think if the game is tight, I think maybe the coaches slow the tempo a little bit and try to execute the best they can in a half court with some of their best quick hitter sets, because it's going to start like if you're that under 4 timeout and you're in those huddles and this is like a 1-possession game, the intensity is ratcheted up. I mean, it is going to be. I mean, you're looking over there and you're seeing the guy that played for you and the guy you played for, and you're trying to figure out how am I going to win this game, and you're going to just be super careful, and then that kind of is going to bleed to your team. Whether you want it to or not, it's going to be like the guys are going to pick up on that. Like this isn't just a regular game. You got Will Yoakum looking at his old teammates. Just it's so many storylines, and CBS will have a bunch of stuff. Chris, what do you think? High tempo? I mean, early or?
I think it'll probably be somewhere in the 80s, something like that. But again, it's cliche, but if it's a close game throughout, which we expect it to be, it's just who's going to rise up. And we've seen so much in the Division One thus far in the tournament, and who's going to make the clutch shot.
Yes.
And some of the things we've seen in the March Madness have been incredible. Right. These big shots, and so I don't know, whoever's got ice in their veins, I think it's going to go down to the wire. I really do.
It is.
But I don't think it's going to be the track meet, because I know both teams average over 100. I don't think it'll get up that high, but it's going to be a good one.
It's crazy. We're talking about a low-scoring game, but we're still saying it's going to be in the 80s.
Yeah. What do you say, Jared? Yeah. You think it's in the hundreds?
Yeah.
Well, you're an over
I think
guy.
we might get to the
110,
Jared says 150, 149.
108.
All right, we got to take a break here on the pregame show, the Pioneer Podcast on the Watchdog. We'll be back with Devin Hearn. He coached at Nova. He played for West Liberty. We'll talk to Devin after the break on the Pioneer Podcast on the Watchdog, live from Evansville.
Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
Oh yeah, the perks keep rolling in with Belmont Savings Bank.
More benefits? What now?
It's my Kasasa Cashback account. I opened one up a few months ago and keep getting cash back in my account. I get reimbursed for ATM fees nationwide and earn 3% cash back on my debit card purchases.
Really? 3% with BSB?
Really and truly. Kasasa Cashback only at Belmont Savings Bank.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
When it comes to insurance, finding the right policy can get complicated. Let Pari Insurance do the homework for you. We have just what you need for home, auto, business, life, and health insurance. We are your local Erie insurance agent, providing seriously good insurance right around the corner. Relax and let us find the right solution for you. Call Pari Insurance for the best combination of price, protection, and super friendly service.
Dirty Dog Tavern in West Liberty wants to wish the Toppers best of luck in the NCAA Division II men's basketball tournament. Go Toppers!
The Highlands Sports Complex is the Ohio Valley's most exciting place to play. A state-of-the-art facility offering fun for the whole family with a climbing wall, arcade, indoor turf, hardwood courts, classes and camps for kids and adults. Plus, you can take a break in the on-site cafe. Learn more online at hitthehighlands.com, or better yet, stop in and visit the Highlands Sports Complex at the top of the hill off I-70.
River City Restaurant is a full-service restaurant, bar, and banquet facility located in the beautiful Artisan Center in the heart of downtown Wheeling, West Virginia. We have catered over 300 functions, including over 100 wedding receptions. With our experienced staff, extensive menu, and fun nightlife, we are the premier dining and event space in the Ohio Valley. Book River City for your next event. 304-233-4555. Preserve your roots, grow your legacy. The Preferred Legacy Trust Company wants to wish the Toppers best of luck in the NCAA Division II Final Four.
Need a new suit? Looking for a good book? Searching for a unique gift? The Ohio Valley's premier shopping choice is the Highlands. Find jewelry, hot new tech, arts and crafts, over 24 stores to visit. From Walmart and Target to Cabela's, Menards, Kohl's, and Old Navy. Plan a day out of shopping, dining, and entertainment at the Highlands. At the top of the hill off I-70. See it all online at hitthehighlands.com.
Looking for insurance that gives you options? Then head to Fronapple Burkett Insurance. With multiple carriers to choose from, you can find the perfect policy for you. And our rates? Unbeatable. But it's not just about the numbers. Our commitment to awesome service is what sets us apart. We go above and beyond for our customers because we're not just here to sell insurance, we're here to help you protect what matters most. And speaking of community, that's our focus too. Fronapple Burkett Insurance is right here on 3rd Street in Moundsville, and we're committed to giving back to the place we call home. So if you're ready for insurance that's personalized, affordable, and backed by a team that cares, call Fronapple Burkett Insurance at 304-845-9490. Let's protect what matters most together.
What if your bank offered new checking and savings accounts with a very low balance required, online bill pay, and debit cards issued right away?
I would like that.
What if that bank had extended hours every business day and were open on Saturdays and most holidays?
That's incredible.
And if all their accounts had low fees or no fees?
That's money in the bank, the right bank.
Open your checking and savings account at Main Street Bank. You deserve a bank this good. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
For 117 years, the YWCA has been dedicated to helping people in the Ohio Valley. In order to continue this important work for another century, the YWCA has launched a capital campaign. The YWCA Wheeling needs $1.8 million for necessary upgrades, naming opportunities available. Women and children rebuilding their lives deserve to live in comfort and stability, no matter how temporary their stay. You can find out more and donate to the campaign at the YWCA website, www.ywcawheeling.org. The West Liberty University Foundation is proud to support Topper basketball and all West Liberty students through scholarships, capital improvements, and programmatic support. Show your support on Topper Day of Giving, Wednesday, April 5th. Visit WLUfoundation.org to make a gift in support of Coach Hallett and the men's basketball team, or the program that matters most to you. A Special Wish Foundation Ohio Valley chapter is a local nonprofit charitable organization dedicated to granting the wishes of children between birth up to 21 years of age who have been diagnosed with a life-threatening illness. The Ohio Valley chapter of A Special Wish was founded in 1992 by Dr. John Maddox. A Special Wish covers southeastern Ohio and northern West Virginia and offers their services to all qualifying children. A Special Wish does not discriminate based on race, gender, nationality, or ethnicity.
Welcome back into the Pioneering Podcast on the Watchdog, the live from Evansville pregame show, taking you up to Nova Southeastern and West Liberty, 3 o'clock Eastern Time. We are joined by a young man who played for the Hilltoppers, scored over 1,800 points in his 4 seasons, and then he coached with Coach Crutchfield and Coach Fee down at Nova Southeastern for a few years. He's now the head coach at Bluefield State University down in Bluefield, West Virginia. Devin Hearn joins the show. Devin, great to catch up with you. Thanks for joining us here on the pregame show.
Thank you for having me.
What's your stress level like today? I mean, you know so many guys on both sides of this program, your old teammates, coaches. I mean, you had to wake up with a intense feeling this morning.
I definitely did. You would have thought that I was playing in this game because I hardly got any sleep at all. I was up early, got a workout in, ready to go.
Yes. Yes. Have you talked? How many of your teammates have you been in touch with the last few days, or just ex players that you coached down at Nova and vice versa?
A lot. A lot. And I think the cool thing about it is being down here, I've seen faces from West Liberty that I haven't seen in 6+ years. So it brings back a lot of memories. I'm seeing teachers that I had, and the other side where it's like I program for school helped me get that right now. Every and so it's feeling.
Hey Devin, we're losing you a little bit there. Are you? Talk now. Let's see if we can hear you. Sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're a little bit muffled. You were great at the beginning. I don't know what happened.
Did you move?
I'm trying to see if I can.
There you go.
There we go.
Stay
right where you are.
Stay right where you're at. Right there. All right. Continue on, Devin.
What all did you not?
Yeah. No, you're good. Just so you're actually out there at Evansville.
Yes, I'm here right now. We got in yesterday, and so that's where I saw a lot of people. But I've seen a lot of people here today too, from both ends, Nova and West Liberty, and everyone like it's a very good feeling. I think a lot of people have wanted this game ever since it happened.
Yes.
Since Coach Crutch went to Nova and Coach Hallett got the job at West Liberty, I think everyone's kind of anticipated it, and the chance of it actually happening, like meeting in a national championship game, is so slim. I don't think people realize like how slim that really is, and everything had to add up perfectly, and it did, literally perfectly.
Yes.
And here we are today, about to watch probably. I gotta say, and I'm biased, but probably the most anticipated D2 national championship game there's probably ever been.
I would agree with you totally.
There's so much history that goes into this game that I think like a lot of people understand, but there's also a lot of people that don't know the real history. And both of these programs and what these programs are doing right now, and just the fact that it's going to be interesting. Both of them play the exact same way.
Right.
So, and we do this, and we do the same thing at Brookfield State as well.
Well, hopefully you can take your program to an Elite Eight here. You played in two Elite Eights as a player, I believe. I think you were a redshirt the other time. Tell us a little bit about what you remember from those days, and just like some of the old memories, and kind of what you expect for these players to feel like as they go out on this giant stage here today.
I mean, I was telling some other people and teammates were talking about it yesterday. I still, like, even though we didn't win a national championship, I remember all of those memories that we made to get there. And once when we got there and into the national championship game, like I still have that bad memory walking off the court to "We Are the Champions" and the confetti falling down. But it's memories that, even though it didn't end the way we wanted it to, I'll never take those for granted, because people don't realize how hard it is to get there. And West Liberty, like, even when we were there and until now, I mean, they get there so consistently that I think people kind of just expect them to get there every year. But like being a player in it and on the coaching side of it now, like, I don't think people realize how hard that really is to do consistently, and they've done it for years.
Yes. Yes, I tell people all the time, don't take that for granted. You never know when it's going to go away. We're talking with Devin Hearn here on the pregame show. I think Coach has a question for you.
Yeah, hey, Devin, you were talking a little bit about the players for each team and all the backstories and all the things that are going on around the game. Do you think that's adding pressure to these players? And there's enough, obviously, pressure on them just being on this huge stage on CBS, national TV, thousands of people across the country watching this game. But do you think there's added pressure, like guy for like Will Yoakum, who's that, he's going out to jump for the opening jump ball, and he's shaking hands with guys that he literally played with a couple of years ago. And then, those guys look at him, and they look over at the bench, and there's Coach Hallett, and the Nova guys look over, or the West Lib guys look, and there's Coach Crutchfield. Do you think, or once the ball's thrown up, it's just team against team and go, just get after it?
I think we were talking about this similar question last night. I think there's going to be a lot of nerves that go into this game. Like, these guys from both ends know what this game means. Maybe not to the certain extent as others, but I mean, they know what type of it's a national championship game, and they know the history between Nova and West Liberty. Everyone knows, especially if you're in both of those programs. You know the history in both programs and the styles. So I think it's going to be nerves are definitely going to play a big factor to start this game. But I'll tell you one thing: playing in it and coaching in this system, it's going to be a fun game to watch, and when those nerves settle down, you're going to see a lot of points, I have a feeling.
Hey, Devin, we were talking earlier in one of the segments. Do you anticipate this being a really high-scoring game, or do you think after a while maybe a couple adjustments are made, maybe one of the coaches wants to slow it down? I don't know why they would, but what's your thoughts as far from a coaching standpoint? Do you see anybody doing anything different?
I don't. My honest opinion, I think it's going to be an up-tempo game. I think both teams are going to press. And let's keep in mind that's what both teams do. And look where it's gotten them. So I don't think that they're going to change anything. I know I wouldn't. That's what I'm doing here at the school that I'm at Bluefield State. It's what we kind of were taught, and Ben played in it too, and I did as well, and we won. So I don't see guys really doing anything different than pressing. I really don't.
Right.
Coach Crutchfield's gonna press. Coach Hallett's gonna press. I don't see it happening any other way. I don't.
Who do you think's the most anxious to get this game started? Coach Crutchfield, Coach Hallett, Coach Huffman, Coach Fee. Who right now is like climbing the walls and can't wait? You've worked with all these guys, so you would be a good guy to ask.
I'm gonna be honest. All those names he had, Birdie, I think all those guys are probably pretty fired up right now. I'm fired up, and I'm not even coaching in this game, so I can only imagine what they're feeling, and their phones have been probably blown up. I can only imagine, because I don't know if you can hear it in my voice, but I'm really excited for this game to be played, just like I'm sure you all are and everybody else, because we've wanted this for a long time. But I think those guys all woke up, probably didn't sleep much, and probably woke up anxious, ready to play.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right on that. So real quickly, before we let you go, just want to let you talk about your program really quickly, about the Bluefield State Big Blues. This is your you just got done your second season. How's things going to Bluefield?
Things are going good. We just got into a league. I don't know if you knew that or are familiar with that. We just got into the CIAA conference,
Great.
which is huge for us. Being in a league, it's a big deal, especially for our guys right now, to give them something to play for, and just be welcomed into like a family environment, being in a league, because we've been kind of on our own, being independent now for the 2 years that I've been there, and being independent can be tough. Not being in a league, it's just a lot of things that go into it. But We're doing pretty well. Big, it's a big year coming up. Us being in the league, it's our first time in a league at Bluefield State in a while. So it's big for the whole school, and the whole school is on an uprise right now too.
Well, that's great to hear.
So I'm very fortunate and blessed to be at Bluefield State in the position that I'm at. I'm very fortunate.
Hey, now this has to be pretty good for you. You played at West Liberty. You coached at Nova. You know these guys, both teams in the national championships, really, really well. That's got to kind of make you be able to, demand some respect from your players back in Bluefield, because you kind of know what you're doing. You've been around some guys. I'm sure that has to help a lot as far as the respect level of even in recruiting. Just being involved with those two programs, Nova and West Liberty, has to really help out.
Absolutely, and guys that are playing for me now, we're really young. We didn't even have a senior on our roster this year, but guys are seeing how hard, and you all know just from watching it for so long, but you don't really know it until you've watched it and played in it. You don't understand how hard it is to play this way, and that's what's taken us some time. The guys are learning how hard it is to play this way consistently. But what I've been telling them from the get-go is it's a proven system. You play the right way, you're going to win 20-plus games every year.
Right.
Look at West Liberty and Nova. They're doing it. But it's a very hard system to play. And that's why there's only 3 teams in the country do it right now. If it was easy, everybody would do it,
Sure.
But it's not easy. But it's exciting. Everything that's wrapped up into it. Bluefield State, being wrapped up into it too. Where I'm at, it's like full circle. And being under Coach Crutchfield and Coach Hallett, words can't even really describe what this game's going to be like for me. Like, I am so ready for this jump ball. I'm at a loss for words right now. I'm like a little kid in a candy store.
All right, Devin, I'm going to put you on the spot. You know both teams. You know both systems. You know what's gone on up to this point. Let's hear your prediction. Come on, lay it on the line here.
If I had $1 for how many times I got asked this, I honestly don't have an answer. I don't.
Don't duck the question.
It could go. I mean, both teams are playing the exact same way. I mean, there's so many different ways that this game could go. I think that's what people are kind of underestimating. I mean, both teams play so up tempo that anything can happen when you play that way.
All right, give me 3. Give me 2 to 3 keys to the game. 2 to 3 keys to who's going to win the game.
I think foul trouble could come into play. But before foul trouble, I think it's bottom line is, I mean, it's what the heart and soul of both systems are, and ours as well. I think it's who's going to impose their will the most in the press. That's what's going to determine this game. Besides, like, the foul call, and there's probably a couple other things that are going to go into this game, but I think the number one thing is basically who wants it more in this press. Every loose ball, or you're going to see who wants it more. I mean, you're playing on the biggest stage on CBS. It doesn't get bigger than that. And both teams are going to try and impose their will in the press, and I think that's what. There's a lot of things that are going to come down to it in this game, but I think that is the number one. Is who forces the most turnovers or causes the most havoc in this press and leads to transition points and open looks, open layups, open threes. I think that's the biggest thing, and both teams are capable of doing all of those things. So I think we're in for a treat.
Oh, good.
I would agree, Devin. Well spoken
said.
like a true coach
well
now.
Said.
As you join the coaching profession, you sound very good. So, hey, Devin, thank you so much for joining us. It was great to catch up with you. I haven't talked to you in a while. We'll be watching your big Blues, and hopefully you guys make a run into the regionals and maybe take a crack at West Liberty and Nova down the road. It was great to hear from you, and take care with everything. Enjoy the game today.
Hey, I can't thank you guys enough for allowing me to give time here. It was nice talking to you, too. It's been a long time.
Sure has. All right, Devin, enjoy the game. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you so much.
That's Devin
See you,
Hearn,
Devin.
the head coach at Bluefield State, former coach, player development coach at Nova Southeastern. Did a lot of stuff with getting their guys used to how to play this style. So he deserves a lot of credit. Some of these guys they've had been working with him. He was a red shirt. He came up under Coach Crutchfield and Coach Hallett. I know Coach Hallett worked a lot with him directly when he was a freshman, a redshirt freshman from Parkersburg. They knew this kid had talent, and they wanted him to just get that motor going. And once he got that, he was a 4-year starter and just a great player, 1,800 points, great kid, great family, just a genuinely nice guy. I'm really glad it's working out for him. It's great to catch up with him. Chris, you talked to his parents at some games in the old days. Good people.
And it's the way you brought that up as far as, because I remember him when we started playing, and he struggled at first, but the way he progressed, and I mean, my God, and when you showed me this stat sheet yesterday, that I didn't realize he scored just under 1,900 points. That's a boatload.
Yes.
And I mean, his junior and senior seasons, he was fantastic. So good for him, and wish him nothing but the best.
Yeah.
He's a good kid.
Hey, all right. I'm going to pose the same question to you guys, not the score, not the prediction. What do you guys see are the X factors, the keys to the game, Chris? What are your 1, 2, or 3 keys to the game?
Well, I mentioned it earlier. I just think whoever's going to step up. I mean, all the things that he said with foul trouble and whatnot, but that'll factor in. But I just think whoever's going to come up and just make and take the big shot, or take and make the big shot. I don't know. You guys are more in tune with the X's and O's and all that stuff, since you guys are so dialed in on the gambling aspect of it.
You didn't ask.
I don't know if X's
we'll
and O's ever.
We'll go there. We'll
win.
go there in a little bit, but yeah.
But, I mean, I don't know. I just, like I said, I've been wrapped up with all these big shots some of these kids are making. I hope we see that today, and it's going to be a classic.
What do you say, Matt? What are your keys?
I think one of the things that I'm going to be looking for early in the game is Nova and their isolations down the block. And I think that West Liberty against Black Hills showed in the second half that they were a little susceptible to that. And obviously with Bryce Butler going in and out of the game, and he was in a little foul trouble, he's very strong and he's not going to get bullied around. But I want to see if Coach Crutchfield is going to go down there on that block and isolate and try to get easy baskets, kind of try to get guys in foul trouble, maybe try to impose their will a little bit. Whereas, you think this fast tempo, it's all going to be fast breaks and three-pointers. I do think in the half court, I think Nova tries to isolate, take advantage of Sunahar and some of those bigger guys down there. And I think if they're able to find some success doing that early, then three-point shots are going to be more wide open and things will come for Nova. For West Liberty, I think I really do think they'll play the way Coach Hallett played. So he is a high emotion guy. So I think you're going to come and you're going to see them very, very amped up at the beginning of the game. Not that Nova's not going to be, but I think Coach Crutchfield's a little bit more. He's obviously a little more seasoned, and maybe he's just his demeanor's a little calmer. I think Coach Hallett's really aggressive. I think they'll press very, very hard at the beginning of the game, and if they can continue and get turnovers early and often, then West Liberty kind of sets the tempo for the game. So those are the two things I think each team needs to do. I think if West Lib can get a few turnovers. Now, Dallas, Graziani, he's a very good ball handler back there. So these guys are going to be ready for this press. They face it all the time in practice in their open gym. So they're going to kind of know how to handle it. But I look for those two as my keys.
And I wanted to ask too, and I assume he's fine because nobody's talked about it. But Bryce Butler's fine. I mean,
well, we don't know, Chris.
Have you heard anything?
We weren't able to get a hold of him yesterday. They didn't allow him to speak with the media, which I understand, coming off an injury and stuff like that. So I don't know. I don't know if he was in concussion protocol. Maybe that's something we ask EJ when we get down on the ground, see if he's in the warm-up line and things like that. Coach, what do you say? What's your
I think obviously you guys talked about the pressure. I think West Liberty's ball pressure off of a missed shot when the defensive team rebounds is incredible. You watched against Black Hills. If West Liberty misses a shot, they immediately press off of the miss. And that's something teams aren't used to. Most teams are used to a press after a make. But after a miss, teams struggle because everybody takes off and heads down to the other end, and they trap incredibly well off of a missed shot. So I think that's going to be something that Nova's going to have to handle. And then obviously you said, Matt, they face it in practice, but neither one of these teams have faced another team that presses like they do, especially West Liberty. I think West Liberty's press is a little bit better than Nova's at this point from what I've seen out of both teams, and I think that's going to be a huge key. But I also think one of the big keys is offensive rebounding. I think if teams can get second chances, especially Nova, if they get a lot of second chance buckets from their big guys. I think that's going to be a key factor because I think in the big games before, that's one of the things that hurt West Liberty was size. And obviously, as Dr. McCullough alluded to, Nova is much bigger than West Liberty. So I think offensive rebounding is a really big factor here. If teams can control the defensive boards, I think that's going to be a big key. Jarrett?
We were talking about it just a little bit ago about Bryce. I think the big thing is if he's going to be healthy and if they can get him the ball, and then on the other side, if they can get Will the ball. They're two big guys. I think that's the biggest key for both of them. I mean, hopefully Bryce is all good. He's ready to go. But
I want to hear Jub's keys of the game.
My keys, oh boy. I mean, jump, shoot, run, score.
Kind of like the Watchdog did on that video, the Watchdog mascot. Out in the parking lot the other day. He had some good skills.
People are going to be seeing the actual Watchdog around.
I think the Watchdog would have been a key factor in this game today.
JSRS, jump, shoot, run, score.
Perfect. I like that.
They probably have Crutch probably has that on a chalkboard.
Yes.
JSRS.
So
here's the question I got.
You think if he gets interviewed, he said, "Hey, Coach, you know what did you just do that game?" He said, we jumped, ran, we shoot, and we scored. That's all we did.
No dribbling.
Hey, Jub, do you think effort's important?
50-50.
Take it or leave it.
Yeah.
Hey, here's a question I got. Both of these teams eat their pregame meals at Subway. I wonder how that's going to show.
Wow.
How's that going
Coach Crutch does Subway too?
Oh, yeah. He's the one that
That's
invented
where it started it.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I meant to ask Devin that too. I'm sure Bluefield does it as well.
I wonder if they.
I mean, they probably had to book their own times.
I was going to say, wonder if they met at the same time.
They probably sent Rex in to scout it out, be sure Nova wasn't there.
I don't know. Somebody could have slipped some turbo lax in one of the other.
Yeah. Poor Lloyd Christmas.
They bribed the workers. They said, "Hey, well, we'll give you a few dollars if you slip a little turbo lax in the next team's sandwich."
Subway ought to give all those guys NIL deals.
Is the Subway close to the Ford Center?
Honestly, Jared, I don't remember. I'm sure there's a Subway everywhere. That's a pretty good-sized city, so I'm sure that there's several of them. I'm sure that they probably thought about that this morning. Okay, the top job of the day for Coach Fee and Coach Lamberti was to find out what Subway the other team was going to and not go there. That's the strategy. See, that's the game within the game that you can only hear on the Pine Room podcast.
Exactly.
On the Watchdog as we take you up to the tip.
When you were involved, Matt, did a lot of those guys always have the exact sandwich?
Oh, yeah. Bryce and Steve were on the show 2 weeks ago. Said they get exact same sub.
Most of them did. And then Coach Crutchfield tells us funny stories about Tim Hossfeld one time getting a foot long.
And he had a terrible game.
And he shot terrible. And then I'm going to ask if we're lucky enough to get Chris Morrow and John Wolasinchuk or maybe joining the show in our last half an hour leading up to the tip-off. I think Rex is getting them a phone line to be able to call in. But I'm going to ask Chris Morrow because he was always devastated when Coach Crutchfield would only let him get a 6-inch. He was not happy about
6
it.
foot 6.
Yeah, I mean, he was a monster.
Guy
Right.
Eating a 6-inch like in 2 bites.
Yeah,
Chris, and even Coach Howlett was on in his interview, and he said that he gets the same thing, has always got the same thing. His wife thinks he's crazy, but he said he's won a lot of games on those subs, so he keeps it the same.
Yeah, as a player and a coach. Yeah, the Subway thing seems to work. Honestly, I think you should have Crutch and Ben on the commercial together, like all these big time.
Absolutely,
yeah. That's the way to go. I guarantee you that the West Liberty and Nova Southeastern and probably Bluefield State have eaten more Subway sandwiches than any of those people on that on those Steph Curry and all those people.
Oh yeah,
I guarantee. So,
Did Coach Crutchfield institute from day one?
No, I think he kind of. I don't know how that was very early on. Though.
Love to know how that started.
Yeah, it was very early on in his tenure that we started to do that, and it just becomes something like, oh man, we're winning games now. We're doing this.
Right. Have the luck out.
Because it didn't always work that way. All right, we're going to take a break.
We're about 90 minutes away from tip.
Yes, the PRP on the Watchdog continues live from Evansville, the pregame show right here. We're going to come back. We're going to go live to EJ, I believe, and then we got some other interviews. Coach Huffman, Coach Howlett, Kathy Monterosa. We're going to try to talk to John. All right, welcome back into the PRP on the Watchdog, live from Evansville pregame show. We're going to get ready to go down to Evansville with E.J. Shawdzinski here momentarily. But once again, I want to thank our sponsors for this really cool event. They've been, many of these have been on board all week as these guys have done several hours of coverage from Evansville. EJ's got some great interviews. We got one with Jordan Fee coming up just after we talk to EJ live in Evansville as we get ready for the Hilltoppers and the Sharks here about 3 o'clock Eastern time, less than 90 minutes away. People are getting anxious around here. I think I've been anxious all day.
I bet the beers are flowing.
Oh, man, yeah, I need one myself here soon. But let's thank our sponsors quickly before we go to EJ. Belmont Savings Bank, Frone Apple and Burkett Insurance, River City, the Highlands, Barry Kessler, Crutchfield, Taylor, and Gordon. Good luck to Mrs. Crutchfield today. She's going to have a rough day. The Dirty Dog, Robinson Auto Group, the Preferred Legacy Trust Company, Main Street Bank, Paris Insurance, the Wheeling Greyhound Kennel Association, the YWCA, a Special Wish Foundation, and the WLU Foundation. We also had 3 anonymous donors from nonprofit organizations around the area. So thanks to everybody again for getting on board. We appreciate it. We're glad to be here, us Pine Room guys. Coach, you've worked with EJ all week. We're going to throw it down to him now. You guys have done a lot of good here.
It's been an awesome week, and it wouldn't be obviously without our sponsors and obviously without EJ. EJ has done tireless work. All the other programs, the other guys have just given him kudos because of all he's done for the station and the tireless effort and the info that he's been digging up. And I know he has a lot of people to thank. Also, I heard him thanking people earlier this afternoon or earlier this morning on Doc George's show, the Sports Huddle, his recaps, his previews, doing all the history that he does, just making people feel like they're there. He's just done an outstanding job, and he's probably gargled some salt water this morning to get ready for the call at 3 o'clock. But he's brought us a lot of updated information. But the news is spreading quickly. He's coming to us with some new and breaking news. So, EJ, welcome in again. I bet you're getting excited. So we're going to turn it over to you, buddy.
Well, thanks, guys, and congratulations on a great program. I've been listening, and I can tell you I'm pretty anxious down here myself for this game. But, yes, I do have some new information for you, and it's an injury update. And so this is really important stuff. So
yeah,
great news for both teams. So Bryce Butler, you remember in the semifinal game, he took a blow to the nose, blood everywhere, took several minutes to clean up. According to assistant coach Mike Lamberti, ready for this?
Uh-huh.
He is ready to rock and roll.
I figured.
Good. So good news for the Hilltoppers and Bryce Butler. On the flip side, I witnessed an injury to Kobe Rogers for Nova Southeastern, the talented guard from Cincinnati. He went down hard, sprained an ankle, limped throughout the first half and into the second. He did come back and finish the game and looked good. I bumped into Kobe today, and he was in a walking boot coming back from across the street, and we had a good conversation. Nice young man, and I asked him how he was doing, and he reports that the walking boot is precautionary, that he will also be good to go. So good news on the injury front for both teams.
Well, EJ, I bet it was going to take a lot more than those 2 injuries to keep those 2 guys out of a game like this.
No, absolutely. Yeah, this is one shining moment, Mark. I mean, I love that song, and that's exactly what this is. And looking forward to tip at 3. I do have one other tidbit for you. I had observations from a distance on Will Yoakum, the young man who transferred from West Liberty and is playing for Nova Southeastern. And my observations of Will from a distance, I didn't want to bother him. He seems to be reserved, calm, and cool, but he's got to have lots of emotions. This is a human sort of feel-good, interesting story for Will. How's he going to come out and play today?
Right.
Playing against his old buddies. And the way he plays is going to have an impact on this game. If he's upset and nervous and not comfortable, he's going to have a tough time out there, because I also bumped into Coach Hallett this morning, and believe me, folks back home, the Hilltoppers are energized, they are confident, and they are ready.
Yeah, I thought that was one of the keys too. Was Will Yoakum, and I know. But more than anybody, he's probably the player that there's so much surrounding just because of him transferring. So I agree 100%. A lot of this, and you hate to say it and put pressure on a young man like that, but a lot of how Nova Southeastern's going to goes is how he's going to go and how he responds to, and hopefully when the ball's thrown up in the air, it'll just be another game. No, obviously not another game, but he'll settle in, his nerves will be good, and he'll have hopefully he has a great game like the rest of these guys, and it's just a well-played game.
Absolutely, and one final thought on Will. I don't know if you knew this, Mark, but he scored 26 points in the regional final to lead Nova in the first half. And so this guy, when he gets it going, he can be really, really dynamic. And then he came back in the first-round game of the Elite Eight, poured in 34 points to lead Nova to a hard-fought victory over Missouri St. Louis. I think he's the key to the game. Jordan Thie, who I talked with yesterday, said he's the kind of kid who walks around with his head sort of above the clouds. Nothing bothers him, but we'll find out here in a couple hours. Well,
EJ, once again, you have done an outstanding job of bringing the game to us here in the Ohio Valley. And I will tell you this, since you've been gone since when did you leave? Monday? No, you left Tuesday early, right?
I worked Monday, and just so folks know, I work at Belmont Savings Bank, and thanks Todd Cover for giving me a little release to get down here. So I left Monday, stayed with my son, Rhett, in Cincinnati, then drove out Tuesday. And speaking of Rhett, before I let you go, he's coming in right now. He is going to be my color
awesome. Nice.
Person on the bench, and he will provide some good insight. He was a performer for Michael Jebbia up at Wheeling Park, and he loves this as much as I do. And he's gonna provide us with more insight. Like, for example, after the game's over, no matter who wins, Rhett will be in the post-game press conference. He will be recording it, and we will be sending it to you guys to use at your discretion.
Well, again, you have done an outstanding job of bringing Evansville here to the Ohio Valley. And I want to tell you this, EJ, the Valley is excited. To say that's an understatement. I mean, there are watch parties everywhere. It's the only thing people are talking about unless you live under a rock, because the excitement is just incredible. The bar owners had to double their beer inventory, and everybody's just counting down the minutes now till we go. So, hey, thanks again. We appreciate all you've done. It's been a pleasure working with you, and I'm sure we'll talk to you again before the day's over.
You will. And, hey, I have one last bit of information, and I know I've given you a lot. I hope you are able to talk about it for the next hour or so. But really exciting stuff here. I bumped into Doug Costain. You guys know him. He is the commissioner of the OVAC conference. He's a longtime referee. And he's going to be courtside with me as well. So if we have any plays
he'll be your Gene Steratore.
He's going to be my Gene Steratore. So if there's a play, which they've happened throughout this, where they're looking at a flagrant 1, a flagrant 2, an out-of-bounds play, Doug's going to be there with us and give you his analysis.
Awesome. Fantastic. Well, thanks, EJ. Thanks so much. We're heading to a
thanks, EJ.
One of the interviews that
we're going to do Jordan Fee next. So, EJ, thanks again. We'll talk to you here in a little bit.
See you guys.
Thanks, buddy.
See you,
All right, EJ talked to assistant coach Jordan Fee for the Nova Sharks, and we're going to play that interview for you now. We'll be right back after the break.
Hey, Jordan, thanks for being here with me today, and Jacqueline, you as well. This is really special. Take me back. Tell me about your playing days at West Liberty and playing for Coach Crutchfield.
My playing days at West Liberty were memorable in the fact that we won a ton of games. Me individually as a player, it wasn't as memorable as I'd like it to be. I was a role player at best for those guys, but we had arguably some of the best teams they've ever had in West Liberty, and I came in, as a transfer, and I think Crutch's first transfer he's ever taken. So kind of a unique situation there, but came in just behind a group of seniors that had been there for 4 years together, and Pele and Wolasinchuk and Schetzer and Fortney, and guys that are buddies of mine still to this day. So, but boy, they had really got things going. So came in there as a junior transfer from the University of Detroit Mercy, spent my last 2 years there. and then stayed on. Coach was nice enough. He hadn't got sick of me yet. Let me stay on as a graduate assistant, student assistant, whatever you want to call it. Finished up my student teaching there and was lucky enough to get into coaching. So I was there from 10 to 13 and just some incredible years.
Well, tell me, I know that Coach Crutchfield, he is very particular on the types of players he brings in. And the thing that's always impressed me about him is that he never seems to miss on talent. What does he look for in players to bring in when he was at West Lib, and what's he looking to bring in now at Nova? I'm thinking it's more than just the athleticism. It has to do with the all-around person. Am I right?
You're right. Yeah, I mean, it's made it easy. I'm simply looking for basically the same thing we were looking for at West Liberty. I'm trying to sign guys that were just like my teammates at West Liberty. And it's all the things that I think are very obvious to anybody that's a fan of either program. We want good people first and foremost. We want guys that know the difference between right and wrong. We want guys that take care of business in the classroom. We don't want to be chasing them. At night when we go to sleep as a coaching staff, we don't want to be worried about where these guys are at or what they're doing. So we just want high-quality people. We look for skill. We want guys that can dribble, pass, and shoot the ball. The three things that Coach always talks about is being able to see the game, analyze what's going on, and then react to it accordingly. I don't know that there's a checklist per se, but it's that genre of guys that we're looking for. And again, I think it makes my job very easy in recruiting now because it's so we're all on the same page as to what we're looking for. So it's kind of easy to pinpoint those guys.
Tell me about Coach Crutchfield and while you're telling me about him, I'd like you to let the folks know about all the responsibilities that he gives you as the assistant coach.
You mentioned your previous question. I'd start with is I think when people ask me what makes him so great, there's obviously a million things, but I believe he's the best talent evaluator I've ever been around. His ability to watch a guy that may not pass the eye test and dismiss a guy that may pass the eye test it's off the charts. So I think first and foremost. Secondly, you called him the professor. I mean, that's what he was, right? Anybody knows him knows his teaching background, and he was, he has taught at every level, and I believe, he could coach anything. I think he could coach ping pong, wrestling, archery, you name it. He'd figure it out. He could find ways to motivate people beyond what most people can do. I think what makes him special, I grew up as the son of a coach. My dad was one of the greatest coaches I've ever been around, but I grew up around basketball coaches. And sometimes I think when you're so affiliated and maybe entrenched with other basketball coaches, you start to learn the coach speak and you start to you have trouble getting outside the box. And I think Coach's background with tennis and maybe not playing in college and maybe his math background, he just seems to see things a little bit differently than others. And he's also got the personality where he doesn't care to do it. He's not going to do it the way somebody else does it just because that's the way it's supposed to be done. But he's going to do it. He's going to do it the way that he wants to do it. And there's so much beauty in that. As far as working for him, it couldn't be any easier. Tough in a sense sometimes. After this many years of being around each other, there's an expectation of I should know what to do and just get it done. But there's so much freedom and beauty in that too. As it allows me to grow, and he gives me so much. He allows me. There's no micromanagement. It's just there's an expectation that it needs to be done and done the right way, and we need to sign good players and things need to be taken care of. But he's not calling to check up and make sure that those things are done. There's just an expectation, and I think a mutual respect that they will be done, and it makes life great, and business great. I understand it. I joke often. I say, first of all, I've become like his personal secretary. He's not a podcast clinic guy. He's done just a couple now, but I reap honestly oftentimes the benefits of it. I've got guys at NBA levels going through me to try to get to him. I've got high major coaches trying to get to him through me, and I reap the benefits from it from a networking perspective. I've gotten to know people I probably shouldn't know, So I know that Coach would say that I've been good for him and good to him, and I know that he's certainly been great for me. To sum it up would be just one of the most incredible coaches in the history of sport at any level, in any sport, and really fortunate to be able to work beside him every day.
Thanks, Jordan. And, if you're just tuning in, this is E.J. Shadzinski talking with Jordan Fee, the top assistant for the Nova Southeastern Sharks and former West Liberty basketball player, Jordan. So I need to ask you, this is the national title. It would be Nova's first in school history. This would be Coach Crutchfield's first national title as well as yours. With that aside, is there something extra special or ironic that you're going up against your former team that you played at West Liberty? Does it bring any extra emotions to the surface for you?
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's a bit overwhelming, right? Walking through the lobby and seeing Mike Lamberti, former teammate, who's now the assistant at West Liberty, with his child, his newborn, and walking through and seeing, Kathy Monterosa, my former professor, and go to academia there, and Coach Huffman, and down the sorts, and just walking through the hallways and seeing it. There's almost an awkwardness, but yet a really uniqueness to it that's really cool. If you start, I go back to my wife and I got married in June, and I had 3 former West Liberty teammates in the wedding, and these guys are going to be here. And I'm obviously joking with them, saying, I'll have your Nova gear waiting on you here. But I'm sure the awkwardness for those guys, wanting to support Coach and myself and, Will Yoakum, but at the same time support the people we love at West Liberty and West Liberty. So I get it. And the more you think about it, you could, I think, overwhelm yourself. So I think it's like anything. And as a sports person, somebody's been in it, you've been through enough situations, championship games. Unfortunately for us, we've been through a lot of those where you're just able to start to block some of that stuff out. And when we get out there, there'll be some extra added emotion, but it's game. It's game time, and it's 40 minutes with our guys, our Nova guys, and we're trying to win. But at the end of the day, we are here to try to win a game, and that's what we're going to try to do.
Yeah, very well said. I agree with everything you said, especially about, hey, it's 40 minutes of basketball. You try to block all that out. You mentioned Will Yoakum. I got a chance to follow Will for 3 years at West Liberty, and I always thought he was a very good player. And he always battled through. It seemed like he was always battling through injuries, knees being the most specific one. And I saw where he was in the transfer portal and he was going to Nova. And I was wondering if his knees would hold up, quite honestly. And I'm glad that they did. And I was so impressed with him in the regional final. He had 26 points, ladies and gentlemen, in the first half to lead Nova to that big victory. And then he carried that momentum into your first-round game in the Elite Eight, and you really needed it against a tough Missouri St. Louis team. He had 34 points and went to the line and made 14 out of 15 down the stretch. And I thought, wow, great for Will. He's really hit his stride, and great for Nova. With that said, how are you coaching Will about this game? Because, these are his old buddies that he played with for 3 years. I mean, I have my thoughts, but on what I would maybe say to him. But what are you talking to Will about, or are you leaving it alone?
Yeah, well, I would start with it's been funny how many West Liberty fans and friends and players and coaches have asked about Will, or how's Will, or is Will around? I want to see him, and that's not a coincidence. That's because Will Yoakum, he's a special human being, and he was obviously special there and went through some unfortunate circumstances in terms of health, and we've been on the fortunate end in terms of he decided to transfer, and Coach had recruited him a little bit out of high school, so they had a little bit of a prior relationship. He goes to the transfer portal, Coach reconnects. We're able to get him down on a visit. And even then, when he'd come on the visit, he still was not healthy, and it was, you're asking the questions about his health. We had the same questions, right? Is this guy, obviously he's a great player, but is he going to be healthy enough to play well? And fortunately for him, and I would say he deserves it, with the work that he's put in to rehabilitate and get back to where he's at. So it's just I'm a fan of Will Yoakum, so I'm excited for him personally to see the success. Again, I do believe he deserves it, but Will would be great anywhere. Will could fit in with anybody, anywhere, and that's why he's such a special kid. But I do think it's made his transition easy in that we do have special guys, like West Liberty has special guys that have embraced him. I think he's obviously walked into a system that's eerily similar to what he's already done. So there's been little learning curve there, but he's hit stride from a health perspective. He's been healthy, so I think his game, he's playing the best basketball I think he's probably ever played right now, and he feels like a guy. I know he's at West Liberty forever. He feels like a guy that's been at Nova forever, as strange as it sounds. That's how easily and seamlessly he's integrated with our group. So I am happy for him personally. Obviously, we're lucky we have him. There's been a few times he's certainly carried us, one being the quarterfinal game, to just kind of get the monkey off our back a little bit and push us through that first round finally. And so, yeah, but Will is, boy, what a special kid. I know he speaks fondly on his years at the Hilltop. It's funny, he and I get to share West Liberty stories and kind of have that bond between the two of us. But he, in terms of approaching this game, he's smart enough. He's a mature kid. He knows. I kind of said, hey, you may want to, keep your phone on the nightstand beside you and stay off your phone a little bit for the next 48 hours. And again, it is all love between him and his buddies at West Liberty, but it's again, like I said earlier, just another added narrative to make this thing complex and goofy, but why not? It's kind of fun and unique. So again, they were lucky to have Will Yoko. We're lucky to have Will Yoakum, and what a joy he is to coach.
Yeah, I agree. And, you mentioned the special players, the special characters at Nova. Ladies and gentlemen, this is E.J. Shawdinsky, live with Jordan C. from the Doubletree Hotel. When we're talking to you the day before the national title game. But I would agree with what you said about you have special people. I have noticed after the games in the hotel lobbies around town, how really mature and well-rounded the kids are from Nova and West Liberty. These are really special kids, and it gives me hope really for the future leaders of our areas and so forth, because you guys have put together some great talent. With that said, we need to get to the really important part of the interview now. Jordan has brought his wife Jacqueline with us, and Jacqueline, thank you for being here. And I used to be a coach as well, so I know my wife, how like she would get on game day and anxious and supportive and all the emotions. Tell me about the journey along with Jordan here in the Nova Sharks. So what do you go through on game days and so forth? Tell me all about it.
Yeah, it has been a journey. So I actually met Jordan 5 years ago when Crutch came down as well. So I've been a part of that, Jordan Crutchfield journey. So, game day, I don't really see him. Don't talk to him, and that's okay, because I know it's business. He has to focus. So lots of late night film sessions. I always joke with the players that I've seen, every single team that we're playing. I know all the key players, what Nova's going to be, their game plan for the game. So I just try to be as involved as I can be and supportive. But, I mean, it's Jordan's dream, and that's what I'm here for, to support it. I also played college basketball, so I get it. But it's been a blast. Love the kids, love the parents. But, if you see me pacing up and down, the hallways in the games, I'm either head between my legs or pacing in the hallways, because I get very nervous, but all for the right reason.
Yeah, well said. And you mentioned congratulations on your college career as well, and certainly your time with Crutch and Jordan and the Sharks and so forth. You mentioned the parents and the families that come to the game. I noticed also similarities between the large contingent of the blue-clad Shark fans and the black and gold Hilltopper fans. You guys you have put together a fan base at Nova that looks like they're having as much fun as anyone. I watched your regional games, and I think they might have been doing the Macarena in the stand. I'm not sure, but they were doing some sort of group dance, and to see all the folks down there having a good time, it looked like a really great atmosphere. So I congratulate you, Jordan, Coach Crutchfield, the Sharks, on really putting together a program that makes your university proud, that makes the Fort Lauderdale, Miami community proud. And we wish you the best tomorrow in the national championship game. The 35-0 top-ranked Sharks against the second-seeded West Liberty Hilltoppers.
Thank you guys very much. Appreciate all our love to our West Liberty Hilltopper friends and family, and all our love down in South Florida to the Sharks as well.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
Oh yeah, the perks keep rolling in with Belmont Savings Bank.
More benefits? What now?
It's my Casasa cashback account. I opened one up a few months ago and keep getting cash back in my account. I get reimbursed for ATM fees nationwide and earn 3% cash back on my debit card purchases.
Really? 3% with BSB?
Really and truly. Casasa cashback only at Belmont Savings Bank.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
When it comes to insurance, finding the right policy can get complicated. Let Paris Insurance do the homework for you. We have just what you need for home, auto, business, life, and health insurance. We are your local Erie insurance agent, providing seriously good insurance right around the corner. Relax and let us find the right solution for you. Call Paris Insurance for the best combination of price, protection, and super friendly service.
Dirty Dog Tavern in West Liberty wants to wish the Toppers best of luck in the NCAA Division II men's basketball tournament. Go Toppers!
The Highlands Sports Complex is the Ohio Valley's most exciting place to play. A state-of-the-art facility offering fun for the whole family with a climbing wall, arcade, indoor turf, hardwood courts, classes and camps for kids and adults. Plus, you can take a break in the on-site cafe. Learn more online at hitthehighlands.com, or better yet, stop in and visit the Highlands Sports Complex at the top of the hill off I-70.
River City Restaurant is a full-service restaurant, bar, and banquet facility located in the beautiful Artisan Center in the heart of downtown Wheeling, West Virginia. We have catered over 300 functions, including over 100 wedding receptions. With our experienced staff, extensive menu, and fun nightlife, we are the premier dining and event space in the Ohio Valley. Book River City for your next event, 304-233-4555. Preserve your roots, grow your legacy. The Preferred Legacy Trust Company wants to wish the Toppers best of luck in the NCAA Division II Final Four.
Need a new suit? Looking for a good book? Searching for a unique gift? The Ohio Valley's premier shopping choice is the Highlands. Find jewelry, hot new tech, arts and crafts, over 24 stores to visit. From Walmart and Target to Cabela's, Menards, Kohl's, and Old Navy. Plan a day out of shopping, dining, and entertainment at the Highlands. At the top of the hill off I-70. See it all online at hitthehighlands.com.
Looking for insurance that gives you options? Then head to Fronapple Burkett Insurance. With multiple carriers to choose from, you can find the perfect policy for you. And our rates? Unbeatable. But it's not just about the numbers. Our commitment to awesome service is what sets us apart. We go above and beyond for our customers because we're not just here to sell insurance, we're here to help you protect what matters most. And speaking of community, that's our focus too. Fronapple Burkett Insurance is right here on 3rd Street in Moundsville, and we're committed to giving back to the place we call home. So if you're ready for insurance that's personalized, affordable, and backed by a team that cares, call Fronapple Burkett Insurance at 304-845-9490. Let's protect what matters most together.
What if your bank offered new checking and savings accounts with a very low balance required, online bill pay, and debit cards issued right away?
I would like that.
What if that bank had extended hours every business day and were open on Saturdays and most holidays?
That's incredible.
And if all their accounts had low fees or no fees?
That's money in the bank. The right bank.
Open your checking and savings account at Main Street Bank. You deserve a bank this good. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
For 117 years, the YWCA has been dedicated to helping people in the Ohio Valley. In order to continue this important work for another century, the YWCA has launched a capital campaign. The YWCA Wheeling needs $1.8 million for necessary upgrades, naming opportunities available. Women and children rebuilding their lives deserve to live in comfort and stability, no matter how temporary their stay. You can find out more and donate to the campaign at the YWCA website, www.ywcawheeling.org. The West Liberty University Foundation is proud to support Topper basketball and all West Liberty students through scholarships, capital improvements, and programmatic support. Show your support on Topper Day of Giving, Wednesday, April 5th. Visit WLUfoundation.org to make a gift in support of Coach Hallett and the men's basketball team, or the program that matters most to you. A Special Wish Foundation Ohio Valley chapter is a local nonprofit charitable organization dedicated to granting the wishes of children between birth up to 21 years of age who have been diagnosed with a life-threatening illness. The Ohio Valley chapter of A Special Wish was founded in 1992 by Dr. John Maddox. A Special Wish covers southeastern Ohio and northern West Virginia and offers their services to all qualifying children. A Special Wish does not discriminate based on race, gender, nationality, or ethnicity.
All right, welcome back into the PRP on the Watchdog, the live from Evansville pregame show, taking you up to the tip-off between West Liberty and Nova Southeastern. We're less than an hour away, guys. We still got a lot more to get to here. We got EJ sitting down with Coach Aaron Huffman, the assistant coach for West Liberty. He and Mike Lamberti do a great job. Coach Huffman sat down with EJ the other day. We're going to throw that. Interview on here. We're going to listen to that, and then we're going to hear a interview with Coach Hallett leading up to the game, and then joining us in the second. Oh, good.
Matt, real quick, before we go to that, EJ just said that actual tip is 3:09.
Okay.
So for anybody out there
CBS, yes.
listening, you have time to get another beer at 3 o'clock and get settled in.
Yeah,
so,
CBS will put 2 commercial breaks in that 9 minutes.
So Matt actually gave us wrong information. We're not less than an hour.
Oh, yeah.
We're an hour
and 1 minute.
61 minutes till tip. So just thought you want to know that. Sorry to interrupt, Matt.
No, you're
Go
good. Yeah, lots still to come. As I said, Aaron Huffman's going to sit down with EJ. We're going to play that interview for you from Evansville, and then we got Coach Hallett as well in this hour. And then the last hour, we have an interview with West Liberty guard Zach Rasile, and then we're going to talk to a couple of Hilltopper legends, maybe more. I'm not sure how many guys are going to be joining this call, but I'm looking forward to it. John Wallace-Sinchuk and Chris Mora, I at least know those two will be on. Maybe Jordan Fortney and some of the other guys. But anyway, looking forward to that. And we have it's starting to get, as we said, just under an hour, just on the hour on the dot. So we're excited. We're going to take you up to tip-off here on the PRP on the Watchdog. Right now we're going to send it to EJ and Coach Huffman.
Hi, folks. This is EJ Shadzinski live from Evansville, sponsored by Belmont Savings Bank. I'm sitting here with longtime West Liberty assistant coach Aaron Huffman. First off, Aaron, congratulations on a tremendous season and making it to the national title game. If successful, this will be the first national title in West Liberty history, and we're all looking forward to a great game. But I want to start off by asking you about the balance on your team and the depth. You know, I noticed that all 5 of your starters are double figures this year. 4 out of the 5 have scored over 1,000 points over a career. And then the guys that come in off the bench, they're very productive as well. So how important is balance, scoring, and then all of that depth? What's it mean to your team?
Hi, EJ. Well, hey, thanks for having me. As far as the balance and depth goes, it's actually super important and it's kind of morphed and evolved. I mean, any team would say they'd love to have great depth, but not all teams have that. And I think that the way we play and the way we've kind of subbed the last several years has helped our bench guys develop, has helped our bench guys understand their role, but develop and get more, because let's face it, when you get to play more and you find yourself in a role that's valuable, you're going to develop more as a player. sometimes our second platoon, we call it, not bench guys. These are guys that play our second platoon. There's games that they cannot produce our first platoon. And so because we press, which everybody knows West Liberty presses, because we play fast and run a lot, it is perfectly conducive to having two groups that can come in and out like that. And we don't platoon the whole game 5 and 5, as you know. Sometimes we'll platoon a couple times, but then we'll sub in 3, 4 at a time, maybe only 1 at a time later in the game. It depends. But then what happens is you start getting success with that, and over time it becomes an essential part of what we do. Now it becomes essential. Like it will be essential tomorrow against Nova in the national championship game.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I've been really impressed with the guys coming off, and I've noticed from your first game of the year, which I saw several early, to now recently, those guys are playing with a lot more confidence, so it's great to see. And it will be important tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, then they start to get confidence, right? And then they start to buy into their role. Then it starts to get exciting because everybody wants to start. But if you have a role that's really valuable, you can get a team of guys that don't care who gets the credit. And I'm sure everyone would like to start, so I don't want to say they fully don't care. But once they buy into a role, they kind of embrace the role. They come off the bench excited that I'm ready to go, and they know they're coming in. And that's another part of this that I guess we should talk about. Some systems, if you're the 7-man or the 8-man or the 9-man, you may not know when you're coming in, if ever, in an entire half. You could warm up and never know if you're going to get in at all. And then all of a sudden in the third quarter, maybe 5 minutes into the second half, oh, wait, we call on you. Our guys don't have to worry about, at least our second platoon doesn't even have to, they know somewhere around 17 minutes and 30 seconds left, somewhere 2.5 to 3 minutes into the game, they're coming in. For good or bad, they're coming in. So it gets them mentally geared up, and they know no matter how good or bad they do, they're going to be in for about 2.5 minutes. So we don't script the entire game like that, but that beginning script, it gets these guys in the game early, gets them touches early. So then if we call on them later in the game, it's not like they've sat the entire game without being they've got at least some context of the game. They've got some flow. They've played a little bit.
So let's talk about the flow of the game. You know, you bring it up. West Liberty averaging 100 points per game. Nova slightly better at 102. You're the 2 top scoring teams in the NCAA, and the first time that the top scoring teams have made it to the championship game against one another. So let's talk about flow. What can we expect tomorrow from West Liberty, and what do you think Nova's going to counter with?
Well, obviously, there's going to be a lot of points scored, obviously, because if you got 2 teams that'll press each other. Now, it's not going to be probably what a lot of people think, where 2 teams, I don't predict 2 teams will just flat out press maniacally for 40 minutes. I don't think you're going to see that. But you'll see 2 teams pressing each other in various ways. What a lot of people don't probably, unless they're really basketball savvy, EJ, you've watched us play a long time, so you obviously would know this, but you know, the Nova press and the West Liberty press are very similar, but there's different variations of it. There's different pickup points, different ways of trapping, different ways of denying that can apply heavy pressure, and sometimes just token sporadic pressure that can catch you off guard. And depending on the game, or depending on how the flow of the game is going, or who it looks like is handling it well and who isn't, we change our pressure, and so does Nova the same way. I could be wrong, but I would doubt that 2 teams will go out and maniacally press for 40 minutes. Now, we will start the game in full pressure. We'll start. It's not a secret. I'm not letting a secret or a cat out of the bag. We've done every game like that. But even us, it depends on how we would maintain that. We will press in some capacity for most of the game or all of it. And I think that Nova will too. You know, now which team is going to be willing to press a little more aggressively? I would predict we would, because we have more depth than they do. It's nothing against Nova's success. Those players are really good players, but they don't play as much. Being careful with my words here, but Nova's players are all really good. The entire team, those are great players, including the guys off their bench. But they don't get to play. They're not seasoned in games like our guys are. Our guys play more in games than they do, and because of that, they're going to be more adapt to a game situation. So, again, me trying to rub the crystal ball, I would predict that we would probably, if you were like watching the degree of pressure, I would say you'll probably see heavier pressure, a little bit heavier pressure from us.
That was West Liberty assistant coach Aaron Huffman as he sat down with E.J. Shawdzinski in Evansville yesterday to talk about today's game, Nova and West Liberty. We're taking you up to tip-off here, 3:09 Eastern Time. It's 2:15 right now. We got Matt here, Coach Jarrett, Jubb and Chris in the studio. We've had a lot of great guests, lots of action where everybody's anxious. We got an interview with Coach Hallett we're going to play for you here in a moment. Got Zach Rasile coming up after the break. He's not actually live. He's warming up for the game right now, so we recorded that yesterday. And then we got, I believe we're going to have John Willis-Sinchuk, Corey Pelly, Jordan Fortney, and Chris Morrow calling in a little group chat towards the end of the show. So be sure and stay tuned stay tuned for that, as those guys are some of the legendary Hilltoppers, as I'm sure most of you remember. So anyway, we're going to go to Coach Hallett right now, who sits down with EJ, and we will be back after this.
Hello, everyone. This is EJ Shadzinski live from Evansville, sponsored by Belmont Savings Bank. It's an honor to be sitting here with West Liberty coach Ben Hallett. Ben's done an outstanding job with the Hilltoppers over the last 6 years. This year's team is hot on an 18-game win streak, and they are advancing to the national finals tomorrow afternoon in Evansville. Ben, I've got to ask you, what's so special about this team?
I think they truly care about winning, and they're not about individual accolades. They're not about getting individual awards. They're not about playing for the box score. They're into winning. And, when you're sitting here and getting ready to play in the national championship game, I think that certainly says a lot about each other, and hopefully we got one more win in us.
Yeah, well said. And I've enjoyed watching you guys throughout the year, and the thing that's impressed me the most about your team is your overall balanced scoring and your depth of your team. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, I think you hit the hammer at the nail, and or nail with the hammer, I should say. But no, I agree with you. Our depth is really good, and that goes back to recruiting. I think we recruit at a high level, and it's something that I think is the most important part of our job is recruiting not only good players but good people off the court as well. And just again, really proud of this group, and I think we're playing really well right now. I think all 10 or 11 guys that get in the game all contribute in some way. So again, proud of these guys, but the job's not done.
Yeah, and I've noticed, the guys that you mentioned, you go 10 or 11 deep. I have noticed their progress and their overall development from the first game to now. A lot of times teams have guys that might be their 7th, 8th, 9th guy. They only get a few chances a game. You give your guys chances, and they know when they're coming. It's consistent. Hey, at the 17-minute mark, you guys are going in. At the 14-minute mark, and you almost have it scripted. Do you think that plays a role in their development?
Absolutely. I think, because we script when guys go in and out, I think guys know that they're only going to play 2 to 2.5 minutes at a time, especially early in the first half. And whether you're playing really well or whether you're not playing well, you're going to come out. So it allows those guys to play as hard as they possibly can. And I think a lot of these guys are, a lot of them were freshmen or new players in our program, and you're seeing sometimes it takes time. It takes time to develop, and those freshmen now have got over 30 games under their belt, and same with the new guys. So, again, like these new guys, they've adjusted to a completely different system than what they're used to, and I couldn't be more proud of them.
Yeah, it's really amazing. If you're just tuning in, this is EJ Shadzinski live from Evansville, sponsored by Belmont Savings Bank. I'm sitting here live with Coach Ben Hallett of the West Liberty Hilltoppers. Coach, I got a personal question for you. So you've gone through this long season. It's it starts in the fall, November, December, January. Now we're at the end of March here. How you feeling? It's a lot of wear and tear and a lot of travel and ups and downs. And how you holding up?
Yeah, if I'm not excited about playing a national championship game, I'm in the wrong business. And it is a grind. We've been doing this now since the end of August, and same with our players. They've been doing this 6 days a week since that time. And but I know, just from being with our team today at a team meal, the energy is still there. They're fired up, and obviously we know it's going to be a hard-fought battle. Like the guys we're playing are obviously really good, but it's almost like a mirror image. We're looking at ourselves in the mirror, and I think from a fan standpoint, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, you look great, and I can tell you're embracing the moment, and I've picked up on that from your players in the first 2 games as well. From a national perspective, The CBS will be here tomorrow. It'll be televised throughout the nation. I have a feeling their announcers are going to say, these are the two highest scoring teams going. Nova at 102 points, West Liberty over 100. And honestly, it is the first time in the history of NCAA Division II where we've had this matchup in the finals. With that said about the offense, how much of that scoring is attributed to your defense?
A lot of it. And I think both teams, us and Nova, try to wear the other team down. And I think we wear them down not only physically, but we wear them down mentally as well. And obviously, I played for Coach Crutchfield. I worked for him for 6 seasons and had a lot of success as an assistant coach. And I owe a lot of my basketball knowledge to him, and very fortunate to be able to work with him and play for him. And so a lot of this stuff is created by him. And again, I am very blessed to say that I worked with him and played for him. And I think there's two teams that are getting ready to clash with each other, and I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. It might be first to 120, which, if that's the case, sign me up. I think I'd like that, and I know Coach Crutchfield will like that as well.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. So, Coach, I'm not going to keep you here. I know you've got a busy night ahead and a busy day tomorrow, so just want you to know that we all wish you the best. The Ohio Valley has certainly embraced you and the Hilltoppers, and as you seek the first national championship in the 100-year history of West Liberty basketball. Exciting stuff. Great job, and we wish you the best. And thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, thanks for having me on here.
All right, Coach. That was Ben Hallett, head coach of the West Liberty Hilltoppers, seeking a national championship tomorrow in Evansville. Thanks for tuning in. This is E.J. Shadzinski live in Evansville.
All right, that was Coach Hallett as he gets ready for the national championship game today against Coach Crutchfield and Nova Southeastern. Thanks again to EJ for sitting down with Ben, talking to all these great guests that we have. We have Kathy Monterosa will be on at halftime of the game, so be sure and listen to the game here on the Watchdog, or if you're traveling around, if you're not able to sit down and watch on CBS, have the Watchdog on in the car, wherever you're at, working out, whatever you're doing. Tune into the Watchdog, listen to that. We got Kathy Monterosa, as I said, at halftime of the game. I got John Wolasinchuk, Jordan Fortney, Chris Morrow, and Corey Pelly are going to be calling in.
Some pretty good players there.
Yeah.
Some pretty good. I'd like to compile their stats and put them all together.
Yeah, it's a really good.
You think Corey Pelly's the best point guard ever to play at West Liberty?
That's a hard question.
Was he always a point guard? Sometimes he played the two spot.
He had, yeah. I don't really think we ever really had Dan Bingley even. I mean, these guys were so versatile; they could do other things, and we always shared by committee as far as ball handling. But Corey Pelly's one of the best players ever played in this program. All four of those guys I just mentioned, all incredible players.
One day we're going to have to, and I think you guys have talked about it, and you guys would be better at this than me because you guys just were. I mean, I was into it, but you guys were into it. I'd like to put down first team. First five, second five, and an honorable mention. I mean, who quickly comes to your mind? Just throw out Seager's number one.
Seager to me, number one, yeah. And
Butler has to be two.
Bryce Butler's right up there. I got to tell you, last week or 2 weekends ago at Mountain East Tournament, I saw him come to life. I knew he was good. I never really realized how good he was. Incredible in that tournament. So I would say
is Wally in your top five?
Well, Wally's role was a little bit different. So I mean, he's dependent upon to be a stopper. He didn't always need to score. He was our best rebounder. He's our shot blocker. He was the best guy. I will say this. He was the best guy in the back of the press. And since then, it's never been quite as good no matter who we had. It didn't. And honestly, probably Coach Crutchfield may say the same thing for his team at Nova as well. John Wolasinchuk played center field. Chris Morrow was pretty good at it too, but John Wolasinchuk played the center field at the back end of that press when teams were trying the baseball pass method to try to beat it. He was the best at reading that, and he was so long and lanky, and he got his hands on so many balls.
You putting Dalton Bolin?
I was just going to say, is Dalton Bolin on there for you?
He's up there. I don't know. For him, I thought sometimes he lacked consistency that the other guys had. So, I mean, obviously he's probably in the top few.
Who's the best pure shooter you guys
Seager
see?
and Tim Hosfeld. I don't think it's even close.
Seager
was the best if he got to the line. Tim Hosfeld had range at half court.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Tim Hosfeld could change the game in a second because of the way that he would shoot threes in transition from 40 feet out. Seager, if he got to the line and he got an open look, it was almost automatic. And Tim Hosfeld's three-pointer was like a layup.
I just remember watching Tim Hosfeld. I was so young and I don't really remember that that much. And I just remember how good of a shooter he was, and I would be like, my goodness, like I felt like I was watching the NBA watching that dude.
Tim was awesome. I've never ever seen a player like that. Obviously at the Division II level, small in stature, but man, he could light it up and he could change momentum in games like nobody. One of the best off the bench players.
Would you guys put Chris, and you would maybe be able to answer this too? The first guys like Shane Maynard, Bingley,
Corey McDuffie.
Corey, you got
Ben Howard.
I mean, if you try
Chris Benall. I mean,
you start putting an all West Lib team together, it'd be a struggle.
It's hard. And then you didn't even mention Cedric Harrison, maybe the best point guard maybe ever in the
Alex Falk was good.
Yeah, and Alex Falk, who in 4 years turned himself into an All-American, two-time All-American.
Yeah. Shane Maynard was. I thought Shane Maynard was phenomenal.
Well, he was part of Crutch's
first one.
Those guys put us on the map. That group.
Well,
of guys.
was that we had the cookout for those guys. I talked to Crutch about that on the interview. I said he doesn't give us enough credit for that cookout.
And you know what? And it's funny because when we had Crutch on at the Pine Room back in the summertime or whenever that was, and I remember we asked him, and he said we were talking about the negative feedback that there was when they hired him.
Yeah.
Like, who's this? And Crutch even said, yeah, I would have questioned that too. Like, why Jim Crutch?
Hire a tennis coach.
Right. Yeah. But he went 21-10 his first year, and I don't think since then he's never lost 10 games. I mean, 21 games. We coming off what, 3-24 or something?
Yeah.
The year
Losing
before.
4-1-4.
Why was it Coach Crutchfield? Like, did he have? I mean, obviously he had some basketball knowledge.
He was an assistant coach. He actually was an assistant coach under Coach Ackerman.
Did he coach at Cameron?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
He was the assistant coach for Coach Ackerman, who was the coach, actually Coach Holshoe, and then Coach Ackerman when I was really young. And Coach Crutchfield, probably in the 80s, late 80s, took one of those assistant jobs. So, yeah. So then he worked for Coach Petrie as well. Him and Coach Snell were the assistants leading up to.
So your dad just kind of thought it was
well,
the
he was the best.
I
mean, the guy was just a leader. You could just tell. Like, I mean, the guy, he probably could have arguably been the coach a couple times prior. You don't know, like just the way things fell.
What's crazy about it too. Like you think, okay, you hire a guy and has some success, win a couple conference titles, win a tournament a few times, but for this to happen, I mean, it's
bizarre.
It's just mind-boggling.
Yeah, it is crazy.
I can't believe it. And Crutch never had any really bad years. Other than, and the first one wasn't
a
bad
year. years. He's never had
bad year.
years.
Yeah, we didn't even know. Yeah, no. I mean, it's ridiculous. Like, our fans are so spoiled right now; they don't even realize it. As Devin alluded to in there, this is not easy to do, and there's a reason that there's only a few teams that do this time and time again, and that's a testament to the program that was built at West Liberty, taking down south the Nova, and now both of them kind of split power.
And I kind of think too, like just the job that Ben has done with that program.
Yeah.
Because Mark, I don't know how many times that you've mentioned over the years, like, well, this will probably be the year it takes a step back. And you see that when you lose a great coach like that.
Well, and then you lose players. Like,
right.
He
you're like, oh, well, we'll
losing good players. And
I mean, Ben's just, it's like he picked up the ball and just kept running. I mean.
Yeah. All right, well, it's that time. It's time for our predictions. We got a lot still to come. We got Zach Rasil after the break, and then we're going to talk to the Old West Liberty alumni, Pelly, Fortney, Morrow, and Wally. It's going to be fun. But now, without further ado, we get the predictions on the game, as I don't want to run us too long. We're going to be going back to EJ courtside, so we got to get this in right now. Let's go. Chris, you're up. Final score, who wins it?
Well, I'm going to take the teacher over the pupil here. I just think it's Crutch's time. I'm torn on it, but I'm going to go with the Sharks, 89, West Lib 85.
Chris, it's unbelievable. Look
no
at that.
way.
I wrote the exact same
no
score.
Way. No way.
Exact same score.
Oh, my God.
And then you can check it on the YouTube. Be sure and go to the Pine Room Network YouTube channel. We did not talk about this. We didn't confer about this. I'm getting ready to write his score above mine, and I write the 8-9, and I'm like, we matched up there. All right, quickly. Mine's 89-85 too, Nova. Jared, what do you got?
I'm going West Lib 98, Nova 97.
Oh, anybody coming with a big shot, or is it going to just be a foul thing?
Bryce Butler's going to dunk on somebody to win the game.
All right, quickly.
I don't like my score now because the way the lines moved overseas, but West Lib 73, Nova 71.
All right. That's the predictions. Job, you want to do yours after break?
I got Nova 89, West Lib 75.
Oh, okay. Jeez. All right, 3 guys with 89. Jeez. All right, we're going to take a break here on the
Wish was founded in 1992 by Dr. John Maddox. A Special Wish covers southeastern Ohio and northern West Virginia and offers their services to all qualifying children. A Special Wish does not discriminate based on race, gender, nationality, or ethnicity.
All right, welcome back into the PRP on the Watchdog as we count you down to Nova and West Liberty. We sat down yesterday with Zach Rasile of the Hilltoppers. We're going to play that interview for you now, getting close to tip-off here in less than a half an hour. Enjoy the interview with Zach Rasile. We'll be right back on the Pioneering Podcast on the Watchdog. We are joined by West Liberty sophomore guard Zach Rasile out of McDonald, Ohio. Zach, welcome to the Pioneering Podcast here on the Watchdog. Matt, Coach, and Chris here. Just tell us a little bit about your Elite Eight experience so far. You guys have 2 nice wins. Now you got a major matchup here with the number 1 seed Nova Sharks tomorrow. Tell us a little bit about how things are going with the team. How's everybody feeling, and are we ready to go for tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, it's been great. We got 2 wins, as you said, so I can't complain too much. Got a huge game tomorrow, and just hoping to win the whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Tough game against Black Hills. You guys kind of easily took care of the first-round opponents, so that wasn't too stressful. But yesterday's game was a little strenuous for us watching here in the northern panhandle of West Virginia, as it got a little hairy late in the game. You guys lost Bryce Butler there for a few minutes with the nosebleed. What was going through everybody's mind at that point as things started to tighten up and you guys had kind of lost your main cog there with Bryce? What was everybody thinking? What was the sentiment of the team?
Yeah, I mean, we were up pretty big, and then they cut the lead, made a pretty good comeback. We were struggling from the field a little bit, missed some free throws that, we usually make, and like you mentioned, Bryce went out. So I think that kind of threw our rhythm off a little bit. But, we were able to make a couple shots, make a couple free throws down the stretch that ultimately sealed the game.
Right. Tell us a little bit about what you guys know about Nova Southeastern. Obviously, it's a carbon copy with the style with Coach Crutchfield and Coach Hallett, and pretty much emulating each other. We expect it to be an incredibly entertaining game, lots of points. From a player's perspective, what are you thinking, and how are you guys approaching tomorrow's game?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like looking in the mirror, looking at the team, watching film and stuff. We do things very similar. We run a lot of similar sets and stuff. So Coach mentioned, it's almost going to be like an inter-squad scrimmage where, we're just getting up and down. It's going to be a lot of points. It should be really entertaining, and it should be a lot of fun for us and for the viewers.
Hey, Zach, this is Coach. Going into tomorrow, I know you guys probably have your routine mapped out today. Do you wish you were playing today? Do you wish the game was today, or are you glad to have a day off to rest the legs and just rest a little bit and get ready?
I mean, I think honestly the whole team would be okay if we were playing today. We're really excited, and in the fall we play open gyms to 100 every day pretty much. So we feel that we're built for this, and that then the day off is nice to kind of rest and recuperate. But I think we definitely would have been ready to go today too.
We're here with Zach Rasil from the West Liberty Hilltoppers as they get ready to take on the Nova Southeastern Sharks. We're taking you right up to tip-off here on the Watchdog in the Pine Room Podcast pregame show. Go ahead, Chris has a question for
Hey,
Zach.
Zach, it's Chris here. Hey, watching both of the games so far, and I've had several people comment that have also watched the games. We're kind of disappointed with the crowds there at the game. I'm just curious, what's that like? What type of adjustments, or does it even bother you that you're playing in a 9,000-seat arena and there's really nobody there compared to when you're at West Liberty playing in front of big crowds at home, and then and even at West Banker during the Mountain East tournament? I'm just curious if that affects you in any way, or you don't even pay any attention to it.
I don't think it affects us, but it was definitely a little different. When we were playing at IUP in the region for that championship, there was, I think, like 3,000 or 4,000 people, and then the first game that we played here in Evansville, there was only maybe like 300 or 400 people, so it was definitely different. But I think we're expecting a really good crowd tomorrow. I think a lot of people are coming, so we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, absolutely, Zach. I think you're right. I think it's going to be a relatively packed house for the game as you guys take on Nova. Tell us a little bit about the shooting. How are those rims? They look a little tight on TV when I was looking. A lot of rim outs, a lot of 3/4 of the way down. You're a sharpshooter, one of the best shooters in Ohio history. What's it like from your perspective? How's the shooting backdrop and the rims been so far at the Ford Center?
Yeah, definitely had a couple more in and outs than usual. In practice, had a couple of games too. But, I try not to think about that kind of stuff and just shoot every shot, as if I was going to make it.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me, obviously we know you're a key part of the team. Your shooting is incredible. Hopefully you can knock down a few open looks tomorrow. Tell us who's an X factor tomorrow for West Liberty that maybe somebody that a little under the radar. Everybody knows Bryce Butler. Tell us who do you think if they play well on your team tomorrow, you guys have a really good chance to win. All
right, let me think. Obviously, as you mentioned, Bryce is really good. I think Christian Montague is like a big player for us. He has the ability to hit like 5 or 6 threes also, and he's a really good defender. So, usually when he plays well, we usually have pretty good games.
I agree with that, definitely. All right, Coach has something for you.
Hey, Zach, you're probably going to be matched up against Graziano, I would imagine, correct?
I actually don't think that that's my assignment, but go ahead, I guess, yeah.
Oh, okay. So you're not. You guys see, he seems to be a similar kind of player to you. Like, you guys are the floor general. He can shoot also. He's a high-energy guy, plays he's a lot mirrors a lot like you. So I was thinking if you were going to go up against him, what are your thoughts about him?
Yeah, he's a good player. We watch him on film and stuff. He provides a lot of energy for that team. He's a good defender, and he's everywhere. He goes after rebounds. He goes after steals and stuff. So looking to not let him make those plays tomorrow.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I got to ask this. Every West Liberty guy that's ever been on this show, actually even some of the former players, coaches, we always ask them about their Subway order. So from some of our scouts, we've heard you might be a little bit of a picky eater. So what do you go with at Subway before the game?
Yeah, I am a picky eater. I'm a pretty plain guy. So usually I just get like a double ham and cheese. On like Italian, like a bag of chips and stuff. So that's usually about it for me.
Like what are you picky at? What don't you like?
No vegetables?
Yeah, like I don't need a lot of fruit or vegetables or anything like that.
Okay, so it's more fruits and it's more good. It's the more good things in life that you don't like.
Yeah, I'm unhealthy. Yeah.
What did your mom say about that as you were growing up? Did she make you eat your vegetables? Maybe there was a bad incident when you with asparagus or broccoli or something. What happened? Did it been your whole life?
Yeah, it's been my whole life. She hates cooking for me. She's cooking the same stuff, a couple of times a week. I guess she should have just forced me to eat more vegetables when I was younger. No.
Yeah, I mean that's got to be tough because a couple of the guys are saying it's a pain in the butt because they got to plan the meals around you because they can't go to certain places because you're real picky about what you're eating.
Yeah, well, that's not entirely true. I don't know about all that, but yeah, sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely, Zach. All right, so let's go through tomorrow's game plan just a little bit. I know you're not going to share a ton with us. What were you guys do tonight as a team? What's Coach Hallett have you as far as mental preparation going? You guys doing everything your normal routine as leading up to the game?
Yeah, so we just kind of eat at the same restaurant that we've been eating at the night before games, get some Italian food, and then pretty much probably watch a little bit of film, and then just head to bed, make sure that we're well rested and get a lot of sleep for tomorrow.
All right, sounds good,
That's
Chris.
about it.
Yeah, that sounds like a winning game plan. And I always ask Coach Hallett and Coach Crutchfield, who've both been on our show, they say, why change it when it works so well? So, yeah, I think that's a good thing. And Chris has a couple more things
One
for
more
you here.
thing, Zad. Put us in the mind of a sharpshooter like yourself. I mean, you were a prolific scorer in high school, a record setter, and can shoot from long range. What's that like when you get on a roll and it's almost like everything that you touch and shoot is going in? I mean, that's got to be a great feeling. I mean, we've all played basketball here in this room, but none of us could shoot like that. But, I mean, that's just got to be an incredible feeling. And probably even on the other side of it, though, when you go ice cold, you're probably thinking, man, when's the next one going to go in? I'm just curious what that feels like.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always trying to, look for my shot, try to get myself open and stuff. If I make a couple in a row, then I'm really feeling good, and it makes it a lot easier, especially when I'm making the shots. It gets a little bit more difficult, when I miss my first couple shots. So just try to move on to the next shot.
Hey, Zach, just we're about ready to let you go here. We surely appreciate your time. I'm going to turn it over to Matt here in a second, but just know this. Everybody back here in the Ohio Valley, you have no idea the excitement back here in the Ohio Valley, not only at West Liberty, but in the Wheeling, across the river. That's all everybody's talking about is this game tomorrow and hoping you guys come back with that trophy. So know that when you're 7 hours away, there's a ton of people back here in the Ohio Valley that are pulling for the Hilltoppers, and every bar in Wheeling and around this area is going to be packed, rooting for you guys and cheering.
Yeah, we appreciate that. We hope to make the fans proud tomorrow. So
I'm sure you guys will, Zach. You guys just a model program. We actually both these programs in this game tomorrow, just what you want to emulate after if you're a Division II program. So best of luck tomorrow. We appreciate you joining us here on the Pine Room Podcast on the Watchdog pregame show. We will let you go, and we'll be cheering you guys on from Wheeling, and you guys hopefully will come back with that trophy, as Coach just said. Bring it back from Evansville. Anyway, Zach, have a great game. Best of luck to all your teammates. Just continue to represent the Northern Panhandle well, and I'm sure you will. Thanks again for joining us here on the Pine Room Podcast on the Watchdog, and have a great rest of your day.
Enjoy it. Thanks, Zach.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Okay, buddy. Good luck.
All right, that was West Liberty guard Zach Rasil. We sat down and talked with him yesterday leading up to the national championship game, which is now, what's the time count, guys?
We're about 21 minutes, 20 minutes and counting.
Yeah, it's getting down to crunch time. We're going to be joined by John Wolasinchuk, Corey Pelly, Chris Morrow, and Jordan Fortney. They should be calling in here any moment. Thanks again to all of our sponsors. I'm going to go down these one more time while we're waiting on those guys. Belmont Savings Bank, Frohnapple and Burkett Insurance, River City, the Highlands, Barry, Kessler, Crutchfield, Taylor, and Gordon, the Dirty Dog, Robinson Auto Group, the Preferred Legacy Trust Company, Main Street Bank, Paris Insurance, Wheeling Greyhound Kennel Association, the YWCA, a Special Wish Foundation, the WLU Foundation, and then those three anonymous nonprofit donors. Thanks to everybody for their contributions to this show and helping fund EJ's trip out to Evansville. It's been an exciting week. Thanks to all of our guests today. Dr. McCullough, Devin Hearn calling in. Roy Pickerel taped him yesterday. Zach Rasil. All the great interviews that EJ's done all week with Coach Fee, Coach Hallett, Coach Huffman, Coach Lamberti. He's got Dr. Kathy Monterosa coming up at halftime of the game. So tons of stuff. You guys have heard it all week long here on the Watchdog. At the Pine Room Podcast, you can follow us on social media. We have all kinds of content. A couple of those interviews you guys talked about earlier, the Coach Crutchfield. If you want to go back and look at those, you can check them out on our YouTube and on our Spotify, Amazon, and all of our podcast sites. So tons of cool stuff happening in the Pine Room. Guys, last few thoughts here as we get ready to wrap it up.
Once again, I want to thank EJ out in Evansville for all his hard work. All the sponsors, Kayleen, Rocky, Howard, Bob Slider, everybody that's helped us out and made us part of this whole event this week. We just had an absolute ball. So it's been great, and I think we're in for a dandy. Chris, what do you think?
Did we give Champ's prediction of his score yet?
Oh, no. Champ
that
sent
was
it
breaking news. I know that's big.
Huge.
Everybody wants to know. Bryce Butler is playing. Kobe Rogers is playing. But everyone really wants to know what Champ's prediction is.
Right. Champ said 73-71.
73-71 who?
West Liberty.
Okay, so I'm assuming he bet the Hilltoppers. All right.
Yeah.
Probably. Well, maybe he went West Lib money line. A little plus price there. Plus 145 maybe. That'd be all right. Chris, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Good.
I feel this is a different feeling from the last time we played in the finals. I don't know if it's just because all the storylines with Crutchfield, and I mean, I'm not even there, but I'm nervous as can be.
That day was weird because, like I said, I get up and I'm watching horse racing, and I got things trying to keep it off my mind. I got all these obligations with CBS as we're going through the day, trying to get everyone taken care of. I think Dan Bonner was on the call that day. I think maybe Tim Brando and Dan Bonner. Two awesome guys. I really actually missed that a lot, not getting to see those kind of guys as much anymore. But really good guys, fun to talk to. But, yeah, that day, it was almost like I never believed West Liberty would ever be in a national championship game. I was just like, this is so awesome.
Yeah, when we won the conference, it was
like. Yeah, I mean, you were going nuts when we beat Salem to make the finals.
Beat Salem. I thought that was the greatest thing ever to win the conference. So – to be here, it's really something else. So,
and just to keep maintaining that, because I mean, most of these institutions never get there, and for West Liberty to get there a second time, and then they've been to how many Elite Eights and Final Fours? It's just it's amazing.
Yeah, it really is. I don't know if these guys are going to call. They might be tailgating too hard.
Yeah, we're probably getting too late in the show.
We'll have them guys on. I stay in touch with all them. Jordan's our old neighbor, Chris. So we stay in
I wanted
touch.
to tell him that we have things under control since he left.
Yeah, we miss him in the neighborhood. This is like a surreal feeling. I'm wondering how my dad's feeling today. I haven't talked to him yet, and I was just wondering.
We should have had him call in.
He would have probably been a good guy to talk to. But yeah, it's been really fun. I don't know. I am very anxious. I don't know why. I just want the game to be over with, and it's weird. I don't even know why. Like it's weird. It's very weird. It's like rooting for. I kind of feel for the first time ever in my life. I feel like what one of those like. The Kelsey mom felt like in the Super Bowl. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't really, like, even when the team that wins, no matter what, you're going to be happy for some of those people when you're going to be happy for another side of them if the other team.
That's what I thought, too, because it's almost like in kind of a way you don't really have – you don't feel like you lost because, again, both sides, teams or the players, and we followed West Lib for so long, and how could you really – how can you root against Crutch?
Yeah, I know.
For what he's done
it's hard to root pretty much against any guys involved in this game. I mean, you got Jason Coleman getting all that TV time the other day.
Jason.
From right over by Aunt Kim. He's a local guy, lives just down the road from a few of us.
Especially since he was tending to Bryce Butler, and it'd be how ironic if Bryce made the winning shot.
Yeah,
we got to give Jason some love on that.
We were talking about the SIDs, how they get no love, but the trainers forgotten about for years.
Absolutely.
Maybe even more than
wonderful to see blood today, Chris.
But yeah, it's I don't know if we'll see blood.
What would you put the odds at,
go
Matt?
to the monitor if we do.
A prop bet. Will we see blood today? Yes, no. Yes is.
I don't know. After watching Bryce the other day, it could explode again.
I'd put yes at plus 350.
That we see blood?
That we see blood.
Like intentional blood? Like blow to the face?
Any kind of blood.
Job, you're the hardest working guy in the studio. What do we got going on right now on the phone?
Well, right now I think it's EJ on the line.
Okay.
If you can hear.
All right. Well, we missed out on Wally, Pelly,
We'll
and Mora,
get those guys.
We'll catch up with them.
They're into the game.
We actually want to talk to him longer anyway because Chris wants to ask Wally about why he punched the Cardinal at Wheeling Jesuit.
What I can hear, guys, they're singing the national anthem right now, so we're getting close.
I wonder if it's as good as Champ's rendition.
No.
We got EJ on hold here, guys. Last second thoughts. I mean, we've kind of took it to the max here. This is exciting stuff. I mean, I always thought it almost made me tear up the first time when I saw the graphics when I was in the CBS truck when I was there. It's like, I can't believe this is happening. Like my school where, I grew up for my entire life. And it was like this could never happen to us.
Well, you folks out there in the taverns have a great time. Enjoy your cold beers and just it's going to be a day to remember for a while over the next couple hours.
Be sure and tip your bartender.
Absolutely. Good point, Matt. We're about 14 minutes from tip. I bet the nerves or the butterflies are pretty heavy right
I don't know
now.
what I'd be doing if I was courtside. I'm worried about wrecks. So I told him, I don't want to have an ambulance or they stop the game. So I'd say the SID profession's thankless, and it's an unhealthy profession for a lot of guys.
Delay in the game. Everybody wants to know why.
Yeah.
Leaky roof.
Well, we only have that at Ohio Valley. So.
And I want to say thank you to you guys, Matt.
Yeah, and
Coach,
thanks
Jared,
to Job.
for
he does the
allowing
hard
me
work.
to join you. This has been a lot of fun.
Thanks,
and,
Chris.
And hope everybody enjoyed our show, and can't wait for the game.
Yeah, and Bobby Slider just came in the house. He and Job are two of the engineers. Job's done a great job of editing all these.
He keeps us going. I tell you, I wish I had the patience of Job, Coach. I think he was going to jump through the window and choke you.
Or the knowledge. or the knowledge.
Well, that too. But all right, we got EJ live from Evansville. It's time to go. Hilltoppers and Sharks. EJ, take it away.
Thanks, guys. Live from Evansville, sponsored by Belmont Savings Bank. This is the NCAA Division II National Championship game, featuring top-ranked and undefeated Nova Southeastern Sharks versus the second-seeded West Liberty Hilltoppers. I'm E.J. Shadzinski, and I couldn't be more proud to broadcast this game back to the good folks of the Ohio Valley. The level of excitement has reached a fevered pitch as record-setting Nova Southeastern coach Jim Crutchfield